Hello everybody and welcome into Ray Fisher Stadium here at the Wilpon Baseball Softball Complex in beautiful, sunny Ann Arbor, Michigan for today's coverage of Michigan baseball brought to you by WCBN Sports. Listening on WCBNSports.org, YouTube.com/WCBN Sports, and on the airwaves at 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. I'm Austin Falco, alongside me Joseph Gross, here to bring you the matchup today between the Michigan Wolverines and the visiting Bowling Green Falcons. This is the Wolverines' home opener, or rather home opening series, with two teams that frankly have struggled coming into this one.
Yeah, both teams will be looking for a bounce-back game here today. The Michigan Wolverines lost their home opener to Lawrence Tech 8-3 on 2 days ago, and Bowling Green has just had an abysmal season so far with an overall record of 3-13. And coming into this game with a 6-game losing streak. So both teams will be looking for a bounce-back game here today and looking to build some momentum heading into conference play.
We'll get right into it. The starting lineup for Bowling Green today, they'll lead things off in the top of the first here. It'll be the shortstop Neil Lambert batting first. Right fielder Jeff Scott bats in the 2-hole. Batting third, playing first base, is Randy Ryder. Anthony Smith bats fourth and is the designated hitter for the Falcons today. Derek Dravis bats fifth and plays second. Ty Sunken is the center fielder. He bats sixth. In the 7-hole, number 7, the catcher Justin Mott. Dylan DeHanis bats eighth and plays left field. And rounding out the lineup is the third baseman Riley Minerick. They will face, for the Wolverines, the sophomore lefty Tommy Henry on the mound. He comes in. This will be his 5th start of the year, 5th appearance, with a 1-0 record and a 2.74 ERA. For the sophomore. So Lambert steps to the plate. Tommy Henry ready to deliver the first pitch. It's a fastball that misses high for ball number 1. And we are underway here at Ray Fisher Stadium. First pitch at 4:02 p.m. Henry now winds up. The lefty to lefty. Fires another fastball high and falls behind in the count 2-0.
2 high fastballs right out of the gate from Henry. Could be a sign of a little bit of nervousness or a little too amped up and ready to go.
Henry now working quickly, winds up yet again. The 2-0 pitch, swing and a miss there from Lambert. First strike of the ball game thrown by Tommy Henry, and the count's 2 balls and 1 strike.
That time, much better located on the outside, swung right through it.
Henry gets the sign from the catcher behind the plate today, Keener. And this one is hit high towards the left side, near foul territory. Running over is the third baseman. Cannot make the grab is Blake Nelson, getting the first start of the series over there at third base. He runs out of room as it falls harmlessly out of play, and the count goes to 2-2.
And not much room here in foul ground at Ray Fisher Stadium. Only about 30 feet from third base to the edge of the boundary.
Now the 2-2 pitch from Henry. Big swing and a miss. Set the curve ball. Strike 3. Tommy Henry's got a good one, and he sets down Lambert here to start things in the top of the first inning.
Really nice off-speed pitch there. After he started off Lambert with a bunch of fastballs in a row, hits him with the curveball on the 2-2 pitch. Actually bounced in there, and Lambert swung right over the top of it. Wouldn't have hit that with a cricket bat.
So that'll lead to Jeff Scott, the right fielder, stepping in. First righty in the lineup for the Falcons. First pitch he sees from Tommy Henry is hit towards right center field gap. Ranging over is Engelman, but running in front of him and making the grab is Dominic Clementi for out number 2. So 2 quick outs here to start things for Tommy Henry in the top of the first.
And a nice play there by Clementi. He saw that Engelman probably was going to get there, but that ball was slicing towards right center, and a good play by Clementi to call off Engelman and take that ball from him.
That'll bring up the 3-hitter for the Falcons. First baseman Randy Ryder. Ryder coming into this one batting a solid .306 on the year. First pitch he sees from Henry is a breaking ball that misses off the plate away, maybe a little bit low as well for ball 1. Ryder, the senior, has started every game so far for the Falcons. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss there on a fastball. Henry blew it by him and evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Henry winds up with that glove starting just at the center of his chest. Now winds up, fires the 1-1 pitch, misses just low for a ball, and runs things to 2 balls, 1 strike.
good eye there by Ryder, who doesn't take many walks, only 3 walks on the season.
As the 2-1 is tapped towards third. Making the play over there is Nelson on a couple of hops. Fires over to first with plenty of time for out number 3. So Bowling Green goes quietly here in the top half of the first through a half inning. We're scoreless between the Michigan Wolverines and Bowling Green Falcons here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
And a very good and clean top half of the inning to start for the Michigan Wolverines. Tommy Henry got 3 quick outs there, aided in part by some of the aggressiveness of the Bowling Green hitters.
Henry flying through that inning, and his counterpart will look to do the same for the Bowling Green Falcons is Zach Carey. Carey, the senior, coming in, making his 5th start of the season as well. He is 1-2 with a whopping 10.70 ERA. Walks have not really been the issue for him so far this season, though.
Yeah, an interesting point that you make there. He's allowed 21 earned runs in just 17 2/3 innings. And what is even more concerning is that it's maybe not his control. He's only allowed 4 walks on the season. But right now he's just getting hit all over the place. In 4 appearances, he's 1-2 overall. But the Wolverines should get a lot of balls that they can put in play today, and that will be the key against Zach Carey.
Perhaps, luckily for Carey, faces a Wolverine lineup that's been struggling and has led to some lineup changes from head coach Eric Bakich. The Wolverines stack up as follows here. Batting first, playing second base as always, Akeo Thomas. The aforementioned Dominic Clementi out in right field bats second. Brock Keener is the catcher today. He'll be in the 3 hole. Harrison Salter is in the cleanup position and is the designated hitter for the Wolverines today. Jonathan Engelman bats 5th and plays center field. The third baseman Blake Nelson getting his 3rd start of the year, batting 6th. Getting his 1st start of the year, the left fielder Jordan Wogu. And also getting his 1st start of the year is the first baseman Matthew Schmidt. They're in the 7 and 8 holes. And rounding out the lineup is the shortstop Jack Blomgren. Akeo Thomas now strides up to the plate to begin things here in the bottom half of the first inning. First pitch from Carey to Thomas is a fastball. It catches the inside corner for a strike. Counts 0-1.
Thomas turned back on that one. He thought it was a little inside, but called a strike on the inner half of the plate there.
Something worth noting, Thomas has reached base in every single game this season, even though his stats may not be all that impressive as he takes the 0-1 pitch outside for a ball, 1-1.
Yeah, interestingly, he's only batting 230. He's only batting 224 on the season, but he still has reached base.
He's ahead in the count now as the 1-1 pitch misses low and away for a ball. It's 2-1. Of course, Akeo Thomas had that average up near 400 just about all of last season. Was absolute dynamite for the Wolverines. This time he scorches one to the left side that bounces off the side wall for a foul ball, and the count's going to even up at 2-2.
And he'll want that pitch back. That was a pitch center cut, maybe a little bit on the inner half, one that he tried to turn on, but he just pulled it a little bit too much down the foul line.
So Thomas now with 2 strikes on him, trying to stay alive. The 2-2 pitch from Carey bounces in the dirt. Nice stop made there by the backstop Mott, but the count's going to run to 3-2.
Nice leadoff at bat from Akeo Thomas. Regardless of the end result, he's seeing some pitches from Zach Carey, and that's what you want to do when a person has a 10.70 ERA. You want to make him work.
Now the payoff pitch. Swung at and fouled off to the right side over the grandstand and out of play. So we're going to remain here. Full count, 3-2. Carey now winding up. Another 3-2 pitch. This one is hit on the ground towards third. The third baseman, Minerick, makes the play, throws over to first. In time, got him by half a step. Nice play there, ranging back by the third baseman, Minerick, to retire Akeo Thomas to lead things off here in the bottom of the first.
And Minerick sat back on that grounder, didn't exactly charge in on it, but relied on a cannon of an arm to get it over in time, just in time to get Akeo Thomas. First base umpire Michael Schultz ruled him out by just a half step there.
So that'll bring up Dominic Clementi, the right fielder, as the second batter for the Wolverines here in the bottom half of this first inning. Still scoreless between the Wolverines and the Falcons at Bowling Green. First pitch Clementi sees is a swing and a miss for strike one.
Clementi batting .242 on the season. This is his 9th start in 14 games that he's appeared in.
Clementi has earned the favor of head coach Eric Bakich, getting the start regularly over the last couple weeks. He takes the 0-1 pitch in there for a strike, 0-2. Clemente 9 strikeouts on the year, in danger of adding to that total here, down 0-2. The 0-2 pitch misses well away for a ball, 1-2.
That one missed well outside, and could be a factor of Carey not wanting to go at hitters because he's had a rough time when the balls are put in play so far this season.
See what he goes with here on the 1-2 pitch. He bounces one in the dirt. Another nice stop by Mott. Doesn't really matter too much with no one on base, but it does bring the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Clemente, like Akeo Thomas, will also see some pitches. He's drawn 7 walks on the season in just 33 at-bats.
The 2-2 pitch, check swing on the inside corners, ruled he went around. Third base umpire Stephen Linton right on that call. And it's ruled a strikeout there for Clemente, the first strikeout of the game for Zach Carey. And there's 2 gone, nobody on here in the bottom of the first for Brock Keener.
And that could be a good sign for Zach Carey. He only has 10 strikeouts on the year in 17 2/3 innings pitched. So getting the first 2 Wolverines batters out in order with a strikeout of Clemente.
Brock Keener, one of the hottest hitters in the Wolverine lineup, steps up to the plate from the left side. The switch hitter hits the first pitch here, foul out of play to the left side. And goes down the count 0-1.
And you say one of the hottest hitters in the Wolverine lineup, and he's still only batting .280, though he has been on a bit of a hot streak recently. Hoping to continue it here today.
Eric Bakich trying to get Keener in the lineup any way he can, whether that's first base, DH, or as he is today, catching. Takes the 0-1 pitch outside for a ball, 1-1. Keener, the senior, getting really his first significant action with the Wolverines. See, 1-1 pitch misses low and in. That'll bring the count to 2-1. Keener, an intimidating presence in that batter's box, too. The tail of the tape may not show it. 6'1", 200 is what he's listed as, but a very aggressive stance in that left-handed batter's box, and perhaps scares Zach Carey away just a little bit here as he misses low and away for ball 3, and Keener in full control of this count, 3-1. Wind up the 3-1 pitch. That one catches the outside corner for a strike. Keener looked like he was ready to drop the bat and jog down to first.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the best call there from home plate umpire Michael Duffy. That one looked to be a shade outside, maybe even a little low as well. Keener definitely not happy with it. He looked back and gave Duffy a look there.
Payoff pitch.
Oh,
it plunks Keener right on the hip. It would have been ball 4 anyway, but Keener gets a little extra pain, I guess, as he jogs down to first base.
Yeah, Zach Carey is saying, hey, if I'm going to walk him, I might as well get my money's worth. Goes ahead and plunks him right on the right hip. Keener will take that any day, though, as he goes to first. It's actually only the second hit-by pitch that Zach Carey has thrown this year.
You mentioned the control there for Carey, just getting hit hard, and wasn't quite able to control that one. Keener will be on first with Harrison Salter now stepping up to the plate and 2 gone. First pitch Halter sees is swung at and missed for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, and Carey will let his fair share of runners on base. His whip, even though he's only, the sample size may be a little bit condensed, he has a 2.00 whip on the season.
Giving up 2 walks and hits combined for every inning that he pitches. The 0-1 pitch here to Salter is fouled back to the screen. The count goes to 0-2.
Of course, another key number for Zach Carey is that opposing batters are batting .526 with runners on base, like they are now, although only .211 with 2 out.
The 0-2 pitch, swung at and missed. Big breaking ball there, gets Salter swinging.
Really nice pitch there from Zach Carey. He got ahead in the count quickly on Salter. Salter, the freshman, looked like he had no chance, and he just wiped him out with that breaking ball in 0-2. Salter was way out ahead of that.
So the Wolverines go down quietly here. They get a runner on with 2 outs, but can't do anything with it. They're an inning of play here at Ray Fisher Stadium. We're still scoreless between the Wolverines and the Falcons of Bowling Green. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. You're on WCBNsports.org. youtube.com/WCBN Sports or on the airwaves at 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Thank you for tuning in to today's ball game. It has been a rough start for the Wolverines this season, but with a young team, there's still a lot to pay attention to here. Freshmen scattered throughout the lineup. As you mentioned, Harrison Salter, the redshirt freshman, batting in that 4-hole today. Later on down the lineup, Jordan Wogu getting his first start as a Wolverine. Jack Blomgren, the freshman shortstop, has been a defensive ace. Not quite able to get it around with the bat quite yet, but it's definitely a theme for the season for the Wolverines is how much can these freshmen and these new players improve as the season goes along.
For sure. Eric Bakich, head coach for the Michigan Wolverines baseball team, will be hoping that this home series gets them started up a little bit more. Of course, this is their first home series of the year, and they've been traveling all over, from Florida to California, finally back to Ann Arbor here, and Tennessee, finally back to Ann Arbor here in Michigan. Of course, they've logged an amazing 8,732 miles before even playing their first game here at Ray Fisher Stadium. A similar story for the Bowling Green Falcons as well, though, as they actually haven't even played a home game yet this season.
Bowling Green continues their road trip here. As you mentioned, Michigan just one home game so far this year. That was the loss to Lawrence Tech back on Wednesday. As Tommy Henry's ready to begin the second inning, he'll face off against Anthony Smith, the designated hitter for the Falcons. First pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1. Smith coming into this one batting .273. Just his sixth start of the year, as this one misses outside for a ball and evens the count up at 1-1.
And you mentioned a minute ago that this Wolverine team is pretty young. They brought in 12 freshmen and 2 junior college transfers in the offseason.
The 1-1 pitch again misses outside and brings the count to 2-1.
And though they're struggling early in the season, they did have the number 10 overall recruiting class, the best ever for any team in the Big Ten, so it may just be a matter of waiting some time till they can congeal a little.
This 2-1 pitch is popped up near the line, running over towards the line is Clemente. He slides and cannot make the catch as he runs out of room near that side wall. It just barely got out of play into the Bowling Green bullpen off to the right side. So we'll resume here at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, 320 down that right field line. He was sitting about 40 feet in front of that wall as he came over toward that Bowling Green bullpen. Just ran out of room. Probably a little afraid of running into that wall. Can't really blame him.
That metal wall, there is padding there, but it's all metal fence. It's this 2-2 pitch is lined back up the middle and into center field for a base hit. Engelman fields and holds Smith to a single, but the first hit of the ball game belongs to Angelo Smith and Bowling Green. They have a runner on with nobody out here, looking to get things started in the top of the second.
And Smith has shown he's only had 22 at-bats this season, but he has shown in them that he can get on base. He's boasting a .318 average and a .360 on-base percentage. So he's looking to earn himself some more playing time going forward as well for the Bowling Green Falcons.
That'll bring up the second baseman, Derek Dravis. Dravis takes the first pitch here for a ball, or rather, for a strike. It was in there, 0-1. Dravis, the lefty, choking up on the bat just a little bit. Swears on the bunt and bunts this one back behind the plate to the screen, so he'll fall down in the count 0-2.
And a very good pitch there from Tommy Henry on that bunt attempt. Not quite sure that he knew he was bunting there, but that one was a fastball high and in. Very hard pitch to bunt there. Barely got the bat on that to nick it foul.
So now the count 0-2. Tommy Henry with a chance to retire Dravis. We'll see if he's squaring around here on 0-2. He's not as he hits this one into left field down the line past a diving Nelson. Going from first to third is going to be Smith. He'll be held at third as Dravis advances to second. So a couple hits here, single, double combo. And Bowling Green's got 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out here in the second.
Yeah, Bowling Green has something cooking here in the second inning. Not a good start for Tommy Henry. We saw in the first inning, Bowling Green had some good contact, especially with that ball that they hit into the right center gap. That was cut off there by a combination of Engelman and Dominic Clemente. But getting a little bit on top of the ball here in this inning, that one lashed down the third baseline. No chance at all for Blake Nelson to get his glove on that one.
So now it'll be Ty Sunken, the center fielder, stepping up to the plate, sporting a .435 average. He lines this one back up the middle past Henry for a base hit. Engelman's going to field. One run's going to score. The throw from Engelman gets cut off at the mound, but Bowling Green pushes across the first run of the game and is still in business with runners at first and third here in just the second inning.
And right there, Henry looked like went with the first pitch curveball, trying to get them off, trying to catch Ty Sunken off guard there, but instead Sunken stayed back on it, lined it right up the middle to get an RBI right there. And of course, Sunken hitting .435 on the year, so not a surprise that he was able to stay back on that one.
So now it will be Justin Mott, the backstop for the day. Stepping in there, the right-hander waggles that bat over his right shoulder and awaits the first pitch from Tommy Henry that misses just outside, I believe.
A bit outside there, and Mott has struggled mightily this year, getting only 6 hits in 37 at-bats, so Henry should be looking to get a key out here.
Mott stands in there just 5'9", 156 for a catcher. Running on the pitch is the runner at first base, and finding that gap on the right side is Mott. He'll drive in another run as Sunken goes first to third on the hit and run. Bowling Green pushes across their second run of the inning, the second run of the ball game. 4 straight hits and just unrelenting against Tommy Henry.
Absolutely will not let up. Looks like the Bowling Green staff had put on the hit and run in that situation, got the runner moving at first base. The second baseman went to cover second base, opened up a hole between first and second base where Mott hit the ball right through. Otherwise, that could have been an easy double play if they hadn't started the runner at first base.
Perfectly timed there for Danny Schmitz, the head coach for Bowling Green in his 28th season at the helm. A seasoned veteran of the game.
28 seasons.
The pitching coach for the Wolverines, Chris Fetter, goes out and gives Tommy Henry a little chat here, perhaps just to mix up this momentum. Bowling Green come out of the gates firing here in the second inning, being aggressive, attacking early on in the count against Tommy Henry, and they've wrapped off single, double, single to begin things and lead this one 2-0 in the top of the second.
And they haven't exactly been infield hits. They've been hitting them to the outfield with some force.
Tommy Henry trying to get back on track here against Dylan DeHannis. The left fielder takes the first pitch he sees for a strike, 0-1.
DeHannis batting .229 on the season, so another player that's struggling for the Bowling Green Falcons.
The 0-1 pitch bounces in the dirt. Nice stop there by Keener to hold the runners at the corners. Count's going to go to 1 ball, 1 strike. Henry now comes set, glances over at Mott at first base. The 0-1 pitch is grounded toward short and boots it, does Blomgren. They had themselves the first out of the inning there, and Blomgren charging in just couldn't make the play. That should go down as an E6, a problem the Wolverines have had really struggled with over the last couple of weeks, and rearing its ugly head yet again here.
And boy, that is uncharacteristic of Jack Blomgren, who's actually in there right now for his defense. Certainly not there for his offense, batting only .154 in the season. And wow, that was a key error. Tommy Henry really needed that out. With that error, runners now at first and second for Bowling Green, still no outs in the top of the second.
It looks like they're actually going to rule that one a hit, saying that DeHannis had a chance to beat that one out. It was a slow roller, but I thought it was very playable and should have resulted in an out, personally. Riley Minerick comes in and bunts straight back to Tommy Henry. He fields, throws to first, and Wolverines finally getting out here in the inning. But runners go up to second and third on the sacrifice bunt from Minerick.
No surprise there from Minerick, who's only had 7 at-bats on the season, trying to advance the runners and keep this big inning going. Wanted to stay out of the double play there. Did his job, got the bunt down. Nothing that Tommy Henry could do but throw to first base there. So job well done by Riley Minerick.
So the 7th batter of the inning for the Falcons will head back to the top of the lineup for Neil Lambert. Couple runners in scoring position with just 1 gone in the inning. Bowling Green's already pushed across 3 and lead 3-0. Lambert calls time at the plate. Back in his first at-bat last inning to lead off the ball game, he struck out swinging against a good Tommy Henry breaking ball. That breaking ball is this time hit into right field. Henry gave him a breaking ball that worked last time. It's going to score a run, but being held over at third base is DeHanis. And once again, Bowling Green's got runners at first and third after another RBI single.
And something that we're seeing early from the Bowling Green Falcons hitters is that they're jumping on the first pitch from Tommy Henry. Looks like they don't want to get late into that count and see that devastating curveball come into effect. They're jumping on his early fastballs, which haven't been well located so far, and they're hitting them where the fielders aren't.
So now Brock Keener with runners on first and third gives signs to his infielder exactly what they want to do here. I'd imagine out the middle double play depth as they are. Blomgren and Akeo Thomas set up in that position. It's Jeff Scott, the 8th batter of the inning here. He flew out to right in his last at-bat. This time he hits one up in the air towards the right side, giving chase to Schmidt near the line, and he's going to run out of room as that one gets out of play.
And Scott again swinging on the first pitch, staying aggressive. Clearly the game plan from the Falcons early on is to attack Henry early. Jeff Scott, of course, is redshirt junior out of Kirkland, Indiana, looking to bounce back from a slow start to the season. Only 14 hits and 59 at-bats for a .237 average.
Running on the pitch is Lambert. The pitch misses for a ball. The throw down, not in time. According to Stephen Linton out there, Akeo Thomas seems to disagree. He made a nice backhanded stop on the throw from Keener. Thought he had the tag down in time, but did not.
And not a great throw there from Keener. He bounced it in, but he did keep it close to the bag. A very nice backhand play from Akeo Thomas. Thought he got him, but third base umpire Stephen Linton ruled otherwise.
So now Scott doesn't have to worry about hitting into a double play on the ground necessarily, at least not your traditional up-the-middle double play. The infield comes in with runners on second and third. He hits this one down the right field line into the corner. 2 runs are going to score on this. It's only a matter of how far Scott goes.
Could be 3.
He's rounding second. No, he's held at second. He puts on the brakes quickly over there. An RBI double from Jeff Scott, and Bowling Green has blown this one open early. It's 6-0.
Bowling Green absolutely unrelenting early on Tommy Henry. This game could get out of hand. The route could be on. That error, of course, from Jack Blomgren really made this inning a lot worse. Of course, the only out so far in this inning was the bunt out that Bowling Green gave Michigan on Riley Minerick's sacrifice bunt.
As there's now action in the Wolverine bullpen, or rather in the Wolverines' little indoor facility. We see a couple players jogging out there to start getting loose as quickly as possible before, as you mentioned, this one gets completely out of hand. It'll be the 9th batter of the inning now, Randy Ryder stepping in. Big first baseman. Sees the first pitch from Tommy Henry miss high and away for a ball, 1-0.
Randy Ryder, the senior, stands really big at 6'3", 240, 247 from West Bloomfield, Michigan. Michigan native right here playing for Bowling Green, looking to do some damage to his hometown university.
An alum of Brother Rice High School. It's the 1-0 pitch. Catches the outside corner for a strike, 1-1.
Ryder didn't agree there. He recoiled back. Didn't like the call from home plate umpire Michael Duffy at all there.
Ryder back in the first. Grounded out to third, and Tommy Henry would definitely take another one of those here. Scott takes his lead at second. Henry looks back, now fires to Ryder. He taps this one up the middle. Akeo Thomas makes the play right by the second base bag and throws over to first for out number 2.
Akeo Thomas playing Ryder more up the middle there, shifted sort of out and out, paid off right there, as if he hadn't been shifted up the middle, would have been an easy single up the middle for Ryder. In this case, it's an easy put out at first for Akeo Thomas.
So getting his second at-bat of the inning now will be Anthony Smith. He led this Bowling Green rally off with a single, came around to score the first run of the ball game. Since then, 5 more Falcons have crossed the plate, and there's a 6th one just 90 feet away, but 2 gone in the inning. First pitch to Smith is a big breaking ball that's in there for a strike, 0-1.
Well, we said this Bowling Green Falcons lineup has struggled so far this year, posting a pretty abysmal offensive start. Looks like Tommy Henry's trying to rectify that all in one inning here.
Now pops the 0-1 pitch up, foul, out of play. The count's going to go to 0-2.
And look for Henry here to try to use that breaking ball, which he struck out Smith on in the first inning.
The 0-2 pitch. Fastball misses high and away. Count's going to go to 1-2. And we saw Henry start off the at-bat with that big curveball. So perhaps working backwards here, starting off with the off-speed, then try to blow him away late. Henry, when he's at his best, has that fastball curveball combo. Just absolutely money.
Ooh.
This time. Not sure that was supposed to be a fastball high and away or if that was just a curveball that didn't break. But it did miss high and away and runs the count to 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That one was almost outside the other batter's box right there as Keener had to slide all the way over to get that one.
Henry definitely struggling here in the second. 2-2 pitch. Curveball is tapped on the ground towards Blomgren. He makes the play, throws on the run to first in time for out number 3. So the Wolverines and Tommy Henry finally get out of a disastrous second inning. Bowling Green pushes across 6 runs on 7 hits. They batted 10 guys in that inning. And the Wolverines definitely have some work to do. They trail by a score of 6-0 here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball on the airwaves at 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
Henry had a rough go of it in that inning, but he certainly didn't get any help from the Wolverines' defense behind him there. Jack Blomgren, the freshman shortstop, booted that grounder. They ruled it a hit, but a very easy play to make. Blomgren will think he should have made it. That could have stopped what ended up being a disastrous inning for Tommy Henry.
Would have been a key play just to get one out on the board early on in that inning. As it stands, as you mentioned, it took until the sacrifice bunt for the Wolverines to get an out, one that Bowling Green essentially gave them. And perhaps for those who are opposed to the sacrifice bunt, the inning came to a relatively quick end after that. After Bowling Green had started off that last inning with 5 straight hits, the sacrifice bunt kind of interrupted that, and 3 out of the next 5 batters went down.
They did get, though, on the other side, those 2 runners across, put them in scoring position. You may not like it in general, in theory, but with Riley Minerick up, who's only played in 4 games this year, only has 7 at-bats, seen a lot of pinch hit duty, was a pretty good play there by the Bowling Green head coach Michael Schmitz, Danny Schmitz. But otherwise, he flipped the lineup. He got the top of the half going in a situation where otherwise you wouldn't want to use the sacrifice bunt with Tommy Henry on the ropes. Not a bad play there from Danny Schmitz.
So trying to start mounting a comeback here for the Wolverines will be Jonathan Engelman, the center fielder, leading things off. First pitch he sees from Carey is in there on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1.
Jonathan Engelman, the junior center fielder, standing in at 6'3", 200 pounds, out of San Mateo, California.
The 0-1 pitch to him is hit in the air towards the right side. Ryder running over near the wall, has room and makes the grab and foul ground for out number 1.
Engelman there chased a pitch that might have been a little high and a little wide right there. All he could do was flip the bat on it, and it popped it up right out of play to the first baseman.
So we mentioned back in the last inning, the Wolverines, or back in one of the last half innings we had, Wolverines bringing in a recruiting class of 12 freshmen, a couple junior college transfers. One of those junior college transfers at the plate right now, Blake Nelson. He takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1.
Nelson, of course, out of Normandy Park, Washington. And
the 0-1 pitch bounces in the dirt. Nice stop on the backhand made by Mott behind the plate. Count goes to 1-1. Nelson, the transfer from South Mountain Community College, takes the 1-1 pitch low for a ball, 2-1. Doesn't take much time between pitches, does Nelson. Steps out of the box, looks down for a sign real quick, now steps back in, and the 2-1 delivery from Carey misses just low, it looked like, from up here, so that'll bring the count to 3 balls, 1 strike.
I don't think Carey thought that one was low. He wanted the call there from Duffy, didn't quite get it.
3-1 pitch now. Big swing there by Nelson. He barely gets a piece of it and taps it just in front of the plate. Foul.
Nelson
goes to 3-2.
Nelson there trying to add to the Michigan Wolverines' power numbers. Looked like he was trying to hit that one out and get all 6 runs back in one swing right there.
That's perhaps a byproduct of having such a young team, everyone trying to do just a little bit too much, and that's when errors occur and you work yourself into bad offensive showings. This one is tapped near the Wolverine dugout, foul again. We'll redo it at 3-2.
That has been the case a lot for the Michigan Wolverines this season. Other than Akeo Thomas at the top of the lineup, perhaps Dominic Clementi, batter's not seeing a ton of pitches.
Another 3-2 pitch. This one hit on the ground again to that left side and foul. So we will do it once again here at 3-2, just on cue when you talk about not seeing many pitches. Nelson's seen 7 in this at-bat already.
Well, whatever we say, it's going to be the exact opposite. So
that's the way it always works in baseball. You make note of something, and immediately everything turns against you. Another 3-2 pitch is hit in the air to the right side this time. Running over near the line is the right fielder, Scott. He makes the grab right by the line. Nice running catch by Scott, and now there's 2 gone in the inning, nobody on.
And a nice play there by Scott. Didn't look right off the bat that he was quite going to get there. 3 Bowling Green defenders converging at each other. Scott ended up scooping it up right around his shoelaces and making the play.
So that will bring up Jordan Wogu, getting his first start of his career here. The freshman has only had 2 at-bats on the season. He is 1 for 2, though, so his average looks real nice up there at 500. First pitch he sees from Carey is in there for a strike 0-1.
Wogu, of course, the freshman native out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. So hometown player right here, looking to get his team going.
The 0-1 pitch. Right on the shoulder. It hits Wogu, and he'll take the base. Just did not move at all on that pitch.
Not quite sure if the ball hit Wogu there or Wogu hit the ball. But either way, the 6'3", 225 fresh-pound freshman will take first base.
So that will bring up another junior college transfer, Matthew Schmidt, making his first start as a Wolverine as well. Schmidt also has 2 at-bats coming into this one, but has not recorded a hit like his counterpart, Wogu. He'll have a chance here with a runner on and nobody gone. Or rather, runner on and 2 gone in the inning. My mistake. Pickoff throw chases Wogu back.
And if you're the Wolverines right now, you don't want to be swinging for the fences. You want to just get some traffic on base, make Zach Carey keep working, because he's shown that he doesn't like to pitch.
This was hit high in the air towards left field. It's running out of room at the left field. It's DeHanis, and that ball is foul.
Ooh.
The Wolverines are incensed in that third base dugout. They are insistent that that ball went over the foul pole fair. Home plate umpire Michael Duffy was on the call, and head coach Eric Bakich about to go talk to him, along with third base coach Nick Schnabel.
Bakich does not look happy, and for good reason there. 3-12 down the line. It looked like Matthew Schmidt may have just snuck that one over the fence and into fair territory, but Duffy ruled otherwise. Bakich still out there. He's not giving up easy.
Yeah, home plate umpire Michael Duffy turned to start walking back towards the plate, and Bakich followed him. Bakich isn't careful here. He might take an early shower in this one, head back to his office in just a second. Fans here at Ray Fisher Stadium also not happy at all with that call. Schmidt looked like he had his first hit of the Wolverines, and it was going to be a long ball. But Bakich finally gives up on arguing with Duffy and walks slowly back to the dugout.
So Schmidt, the other transfer, will have to do it again from the plate. Of course, Schmidt out of Parker, Colorado, went to Regis Jesuit High School and then played junior college ball at Cypress College before transferring to Michigan this past season.
So after all that controversy, there's just an 0-1 count now on Schmidt. It's another pickoff throw, chases Wogu back. And that might be a little bit of a spark the Wolverines needed. It didn't end up in any production, but just get the Wolverines back into this ballgame emotionally to an extent. When you go down 6-0 as Schmidt takes the 0-1 pitch low for a ball, 1-1, you can kind of get into a lull there, especially early on in the game. It seems like the game's over. You just It's such a steep mountain to climb back from, and we'll see if that affects the Wolverines at all going forward. 1-1 pitch to Schmidt is bouncing outside and gets past Mott, so Wogu will move up to second. The Wolverines have their first runner in scoring position of the day.
And to your point right there, especially for a team that's 4-11 on the season, to go down 6-0 right off the bat is not a good feeling. It just feels like, oh, here we go again. We're 4-11. We've seen this story before. Chalk it up to another loss. Let's go to 4-12 and play our next game. But for the Wolverines, they have to say to themselves, it's only the second inning. Let's start chipping at the deficit one run at a time. And they've got a runner in scoring position now in Wogu, who's got some speed. So any hits to the outfield should get him in here.
So 2-1 count here for Schmidt, trying to get the Wolverines on the board. Takes another one that bounces low and outside in the dirt, this time stopped by Mott. But the count's going to be 3 balls, 1 strike.
Michigan Wolverines still looking for their first hit of the game. They've had 2 base runners, but both of them on hit by pitches.
You beat me to it by about a half second there. I was about to mention it. Big hole on the right side here for Schmidt, though, with the second baseman Dreyfus covering, trying to keep Wogu close over there at second base. Wogu 2 for 2 on the year in stolen base attempts. He does have speed, does the freshman. Taking a solid lead out there at second as Dreyfus now walks back towards the hole and hit right to Dreyfus on a 1-hop. He makes the play and fires over to first to retire Schmidt. Literally did not have to move, did Dreyfus on that one.
He didn't have to move, but it was still a nice play by Dreyfus. That ball was lined really hard at him on the grounder. Took maybe 1 or 2 hops, scooped it right up and threw it over to the first. Got Schmidt by a mile there. No chance at all.
So a hard hit ball just does not fall for the Wolverines. Things not breaking their way early on here. Through 2 innings of play at Ray Fisher Stadium, the score Bowling Green 6, Michigan 0. On WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. You're listening online at WCBNsports.com, on YouTube at youtube.com/WCBN Sports, or on the airwaves, 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. We appreciate you listening in today to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball. Austin Falco alongside Joseph Gross bring you the action for today's ball game. We'll have coverage throughout this weekend series with Bowling Green in town. So of course, today's was a 4 o'clock Eastern Time first pitch. Tomorrow will be at 2 o'clock. And Sunday's game, the series finale, wraps up with a 1 p.m. first pitch start. Make sure to tune into those ones. Those will be online at WCBNsports.org and youtube.com/WCBNsports.
A little bit of a slip there, but that is a point that Wolverines right now might be feeling like it could be a season finale if they go out here against Bowling Green and don't have a good showing. But really, it's just the beginning to a long baseball season. They'll be playing hopefully well into May. So they shouldn't be getting, and possibly even June if they turn things around. So Wolverines, this young team with a lot of freshmen, has to put this opening start into context and try to rebound here against Bowling Green.
Falcons will send up the second baseman, Derek Dreyfus, to lead things off here in the 3rd inning. He takes the first pitch he sees from Tommy Henry, who's still on the mound, for a strike. Count goes to 0-1. Dreyfus still choking up just a little bit on that left-handed batter's box. He grounds one towards Akeo Thomas, makes the play in the hole, throws over to first to record the out as Thomas showed off the speed a little bit there getting to that one.
Dreyfus right there just got a little bit over the ball. Had a pitch to hit again. Not a great located pitch from Tommy Henry, but he'll take the outs however he gets them right now.
It'll be Ty Sunken now coming in, the center fielder. 1 for 1 on the day with a single back just last inning in the second. The righty takes the first pitch from Henry on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1. Sunken, the speedy center fielder, raising his average up to 458 in limited action this year, only 24 at bats. This time he grounds right to Thomas. Doesn't have to move this time as he fields and throws onto first for out number 2. So a nice quick start here to the inning. 4 pitches, 2 outs for Tommy Henry.
And good thing he got a nice start off to that, because if he had gotten some trouble in there, not quite sure that Bakich may have waited so long with Henry on the mound. but a very nice start to this top of the third inning for Tommy Henry thus far.
Now the catcher, Justin Mott, steps up to the plate. The first pitch from Henry. Low for a ball, 0-1. Mott also 1 for 1 with a single and an RBI to his name on the ball game, thanks to that 6-run second just last inning. The 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, 1-1.
Mott, of course, struggling mightily on the season, was only batting 162 going in today, as raised his average 22 points with that single back in the last inning.
Love the early season sample sizes where your batting average up 22 points with a single.
He
pops this one towards the right side, giving chase, and making the grab in foul territory is Schmidt.
That'll bring it down another 15.
Exactly, just fluctuating up and down for every single at bat, but a much-needed quick inning there for Tommy Henry. He throws just 7 pitches and retires the Falcons in order, 1-2-3. We'll head to the bottom of the third inning. The score still Bowling Green 6, Michigan nothing. You're on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
Nice work there from Tommy Henry. Michigan Wolverines had a little bit something cooking last inning with Logu on second base. Good job by Henry to retire the side in order and quickly get the Wolverines offense back out there quickly to try to see if they can keep the pressure on Zach Carey.
Barring any pinch hitting going on here, it'll be the bottom of the order, starting things off. Jack Blomgren for the Wolverines. On those cycle back up to the top with the K.O. Thomas and Dominic Clementi still in search of the Wolverines' first hit of the ball game. We've seen in the past, head coach Eric Bakich likes to start Blomgren out there for his defense, and then in somewhat of a reverse move of what you normally see with defensive substitutions, he brings in the likes of Jimmy Kerr for his offense later on in the ball game.
That may be more of a product of the Wolverines trailing a lot of the games so far this season. Might not be what Bakich wants to do so far, but more what he's had to do. And shifting the K.O. Thomas and Jimmy Kerr and Jack Blomgren all over the infield, trying to tinker and see whatever gets this Michigan Wolverines offense going.
Yeah, noticeably absent from the lineup today, Miles Lewis, who started every single game coming into this contest for the Wolverines. Like you said, Bakich just trying to mess with things, trying to figure out what combination of players is going to finally get this offense to go and go consistently. Last weekend series in Lipscomb, they scored 16 runs in the first game of the series, but could not muster anything after that, scoring just 6 runs over the last 2 days, all of them early on in ball games. As Blomgren takes the first pitch here from Carey for a strike, 0-1. Blomgren batting just 154 on the season coming into this one, making his 14th start. He pops this one foul to the right side, and that's going to get out of play into the parking lot, so Blomgren down on the count now, 0-2.
Blomgren doesn't really see a lot of pitches at the plate either. The freshman, a little bit overly eager, only 2 walks so far in his 39 at-bats.
2 walks to 14 strikeouts, and not the ratio the freshman likes early on here in the season, but he takes this one well high for ball 1.
Even Blomgren, who has that ratio so far this year, wasn't swinging at that pitch. I mean, Justin Mott, the catcher for the Falcons, barely caught that one.
Had to come out of the crouch and almost leap up to grab that. See 1-2 pitch is grounded towards third. Going to his knees to make the play is Minerick. He makes a strong throw to first, but it goes wild and past the first baseman, Reiter. So Blomgren gets on base here. I don't think that'll go down as a hit. It was a tough play, I guess, for Minerick, but it is indeed ruled an error.
Hot shot down the third baseline there to Minerick, but once he did the hard part of settling it, he had enough time to go ahead and throw out Blomgren. Not a great play there from Minerick at third base, but a good job by Dravis, the second baseman, to back up the throw, keep Blomgren from advancing to second.
So the Wolverines get a leadoff runner on for the first time today with the error there on Minerick. And back up to the top of the lineup for K.O. Thomas. Blomgren on first. 1 for 1 in stolen base attempts this season. Not afraid to take a bit of an aggressive lead when he finally does get himself on base. Wouldn't be surprised to see Eric Bakich try to put some runners in motion, try to get something started here for the Wolverines, especially with a high contact hitter like a K.O. Thomas at the plate. It's the first pitch to Thomas, misses low and in for a ball, 1-0.
Exactly. That's a great point. K.O. Thomas is a great hitter to do the hit and run on. Blomgren, of course, is a threat to just attempt a straight steal as well.
As Carey is aware of that, chases Blomgren back with a pickoff throw. Thomas 0 for 1 so far in this one, grounded a third, back to lead things off in the bottom half of the first after working a full count. Really made Carey work, and looks like he's going to make him work again here as the 1-0 pitch misses inside for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes.
And this is what the Wolverines have to do against Zach Carey, who struggled so far this year, albeit in a small sample size. They have to see some more pitches from him, get him to throw strikes consistently, and when he does, swing at him.
The 2-0 pitch is on the corner for strike one. Just caught the outside corner, did that offering from Carey.
I don't know if that was a strike there on a K.O. Thomas, who only stands in there at 5'8", 160. Seemed to be a little bit high on his 5'8 frame, but Duffy gave Carey the call right there.
2-1 pitch, hit past the diving third baseman Minerick and into left field. So the Wolverines get their first hit of the ball game here in the third inning, and they've got something cooking now. Couple runners on and nobody out for Dominic Clemente.
Absolutely. A K.O. Thomas, old reliable for the University of Michigan baseball team, gets on base for the 16th game this season. That's every game the University of Michigan Wolverines have played so far. K.O. Thomas, no stranger to circling the bases.
And that will warrant a meeting at the mound here. All of the Bowling Green infield coming together for this one. And this would be huge for the Wolverines to just scratch off a couple runs here in this inning. Just, as you mentioned, take it one run at a time, one hit at a time. Just got to claw your way back in slowly. But they look to be in good position so far to start off this inning.
Absolutely. They look like they have something cooking on their speed on the bases with the K.O. Thomas and Jack Blomgren. You mentioned Blomgren's 1 for 1 on stolen bases attempts. K.O. Thomas 4 for 5 on the season. So both of them can get the wheels moving around the bases if Dominic Clemente can hit a ball into the gap.
Now the meeting at the mound finishes up, and trotting back to the dugout is the coach for Bowling Green. We believe it was the manager, Danny Schmitz, but couldn't quite tell. Bowling Green wearing the managers and the people in the dugout wearing those sweatshirts, as are the Wolverines. Dominic Clemente takes the first pitch of this at-bat outside for a ball, 1-0.
Clemente, of course, stands in at the left. He bats left, throws right. Decent-sized hole between second and third base, with the shortstop shaded up the middle.
Lambert and Dravis playing up the middle in double play depth. Meanwhile, the corners playing in, expecting a bunt perhaps from Clemente. But Clemente turns on an inside pitch and fouls it into the Bowling Green dugout, evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
And a good aggressive pitch there from Zach Carey. Came in on Clemente's hands. Clemente, you'd have to have some hands to turn on that pitch. That pitch looked in off the plate. Good pitch there to jam Clemente by Zach Carey.
Clemente holds that bat out in front of his face, staring down Carey on the mound. Now winds it back in the 1-1 pitch. Check swing, does not swing, but it gets past the catcher Mott, and both runners are going to move up into scoring position there. Probably will go down as a pass ball there on Mott. Just let it trickle right through the wickets.
Yeah, Carey won't be happy with his catcher there, taking the double play out of play right there. And now Clemente has an opportunity to get 2 RBIs to his name right here with a nice hit.
It was ruled a ball as it missed just low. Perhaps Mott trying to frame that and bring it up. Brought the glove up just a little bit too quickly, and that led to the ball getting past. Now the 2-1 pitch to Clemente, tapped towards first, but it's going to be fouled down that right field line. And the count will be evened up at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And the Falcons having some of the same problems as the Wolverines did when they let up their big inning. Not great defense so far from the fielders behind Zach Carey, letting the Wolverines get around the bases without getting too many hits to their name.
Clemente 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Did it on this very same count back in the first, 2-2. Carey trying to retire him here. This one is hit foul into the Wolverine bullpen, though. It was a nice shot, but nowhere near to finding its way in the field of play as Clemente just staying alive. We'll do it again at 2-2.
A good job there from Clemente. Looked to be a pretty good pitch from Zach Carey. Went with the high heat there. Clemente Didn't swing through it, got the bat on it, stayed alive, lives to see another pitch.
Left-handed sophomore now stands in. Now the 2-2 pitch. Misses low and inside. Mott stops this one, but the count's still going to be full. 3-2 on Dominic Clemente.
Great take there from Clemente. That one looked to be a wicked breaking ball. Clemente just held back. Not quite sure how he did it, actually.
Now the payoff pitch here, a big payoff pitch here from Carey to Clemente. As Carey gets the sign, holds that glove right at the middle of his chest, and the pitch is bounced towards the middle, makes a backhand play. No, he doesn't. It gets past Dreyfus and into center field. 2 runs are going to score. And as you mentioned, the Falcons defense letting down Zach Carey a bit. He got the ground ball, but it trickled through, and Wolverines clawing way back into this one. The 2 runs come across. It's 6-2 now, still in favor of Bowling Green.
Hey, at least Zach Carey's ERA won't be rising because a lot of unearned runs coming around the bases right now. Dravis absolutely booted that ball into center field on the backhand attempt right there. Had plenty of time to get his frame around and get in front of that ball. Instead chose to go for the backhand. Couldn't quite squeeze the ball. Easy run scoring there for the Wolverines in the form of Blomgren and Aiko Thomas.
Aiko Thomas with that speed. As soon as that trickled off the glove of Dreyfus and into center, Thomas was booking it around third, easily scored from second on that play. The Wolverines just crawling back into this one just a little bit with those 2 runs here in the bottom of the third, and a chance to do more. Still nobody out with Brock Keener stepping to the plate. Aggressive lead over there by Clemente at first, not going on the pitch as it misses outside to the switch hitter Keener batting from the left side. 1-0 rather.
Clemente, no stolen base attempts on the season so far in a small sample size. Of course, also hasn't been on base that much this season, so not too much to go by here. Takes a medium-sized lead off first, though. Pretty generous secondary lead as well.
Keener hits this one in towards right field, and it drops in front of the right fielder, Scott, for another base hit here in the inning. The Wolverines have 2 runners on by error and now 2 on by hits in this inning without recording an out. So first and second with no one out, bringing up the catcher, or rather the designated hitter today, Harrison Salter.
And Scott couldn't quite make the play on that, mostly due to his late break on the ball. That ball lofted up a little, hard to see, looked like it had a lot of backspin on it coming back toward the infield. Scott didn't get a great jump on it. By the time he realized, could only pick it up off the ground for a single for Brock Keener.
So Salter now standing in there, the righty, 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout back in the first inning. He was retired on 3 straight pitches by Carey. But Carey much less effective here in the third than he was in the first time through the Wolverines order. As we'll wait just a second here as the shortstop Lambert runs over to talk to Dreyfus, the second baseman, trying to get things in order in the middle infield. First pitch here to Salter, bounces in the dirt, low and away for a ball, 1-0.
Play better defense, Lambert yells at Dreyfus. Not quite sure you can tell him much other than maybe don't go for that backhand right there.
Maybe trying to sort out exactly who's covering second on a potential pickoff throw. I like your idea better, though. That's much more entertaining. Carey taking his time now between pitches has noticeably slowed this ball game down. The 1-0 pitch. Check swing. Ruled he went by home plate umpire Michael Duffy. Don't know about that one. Didn't even bother appealing down to first. But
Salter looked a little disgusted that Duffy didn't even appeal at all to first base umpire Michael Schultz. Did one of those turn away, don't make eye contact ones right there.
Salter now in a 1-1 count. Waggles that bat aggressively over his right shoulder and swings and misses here at the 1-1 pitch from Carey. It goes down now in the count 1-2.
Nice breaking ball there by Carey. Sensed that Salter was probably a little amped up after feeling that he missed a call there from Duffy on the previous pitch, trying to drive in those runs from first and second. Gave him a breaking ball that Salter swung right over.
A 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a good breaking ball there for strike 3. Salter strikes out for the second time in the ball game, and the Wolverines have recorded their first out of the 3rd inning here.
Good pitching there by Carey. Saw that Salter wasn't even close on that first breaking ball. Said, hey, why not give him a second? Threw the exact same pitch. Salter swung nowhere close to it. Same as the first time. Same exact result. And the second out here for Zach Carey. First out.
First out of the inning here. 1 gone. Still runners on first and second, though, for the 5-hitter center fielder Jonathan Engelman. Engelman popped out in foul territory to the first baseman in his first at-bat of this ball game back in the 2nd.
Engelman, of course, also with the lone home run for the Wolverines on the season.
Pickoff throw not in time there as when he dives back in at second. Second baseman Dreyfus sneaking in behind him.
Pretty nice play there by Dravis. Looked like they had him if Carey had turned just a half second early. As it was, Dravis got there, and Clemente had a chance to realize, got back to the bag just in time.
Now the runners are going on the pitch as Engelman reaches out and taps this foul down the left field line. Finds himself down in the hole 0-1.
Aggressive move there by Eric Bakic and his staff to send him on the 0-1 count there. Sent both runners on the hit and run. Luckily, Jonathan Engelman was just able to make contact.
Engelman now leans back, holds that bat out in front of him, is ready now for the 0-1 pitch. Slightly open stance, that left front foot barely touching the ground, just that little toe. The bat almost perfectly still as he fouls this one off of his foot, trickles out towards the pitcher's mound, but the count's going to go to 0 balls and 2 strikes now on Engelman.
You said he barely puts any weight on that front foot, maybe putting a little less weight on that next bat. At the next time he steps into that batter's box after smacking that one right off that same foot. Engelman here will want to put the ball in play with runners at first and second. He's got some speed, so he shouldn't be too worried about grounding into the double play. Want to make sure he gets some contact here.
Carey ready now for the 0-2 pitch. Looks back at Clemente on second. Now looks back again. Now the 0-2. Lined into left field for a base hit. Clemente is going to be held at third base. But it's another single here for the Wolverines in the inning. Their 3rd. And the bases are now loaded with just 1 gone for Blake Nelson.
And that's exactly what happened right there. Just as I finished saying it, Engelman saw the breaking ball there, didn't try to do too much, looked like he was even out a little in front ahead of it, kept his hands back just enough to flick it in between second and third, and load up the bases here for Blake Nelson.
Nelson 0 for 1 in the ball game today. Flew out to right back in the 2nd inning after working a nice 8-pitch at bat. He stands in there, bat resting on that right shoulder, open stance in the right-handed batter's box. Like Engelman, that bat barely moving above his right shoulder. This one he grounds into left field for a base hit. Run's going to score. Keener is going to be held up by third base coach Nick Schnabel. But the Wolverines have pushed across their 3rd run in the inning here on the RBI single by Blake Nelson.
The Wolverines are rallying here at Ray Fisher Stadium, not giving up. It's only the bottom of the 3rd. Feels like we've played at least 5 innings so far. The score here, 6-3 at this point. Pitching has not been the story so far, nor has fielding. Bowling Green, of course, with those 2 errors just in this inning.
And it looks like we're going to have a pitching substitution here. First one of the ball game, just in the bottom of the 3rd. Head coach Danny Schmitz walks out to the mound, makes the call to the pen. We'll get the number for you coming up in just a second. Just a reminder, you're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Austin Falco alongside Joseph Gross bringing you the actions on the airwaves today at 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor, as well as our online outlets where you'll hear us over the next couple days and throughout the season, every single game here at Ray Fisher Stadium. We're hoping to bring it to you. At the very least, through the end of April, we should have every single game covered for you as these Wolverines go through what has been a bit of a tumultuous start to the season, but a promising young team just growing throughout the year.
Absolutely. It'll be fun to see how this team develops. I assume they'll be going undefeated in April, so make sure to tune in to WCBN Sports for our coverage. Wolverines looking to rally here. They've strung together a bunch of hits, aided in part by the errors from the Bowling Green defense. But before this inning, they hadn't had any hits at all. Now they're evening up the scoreline a little bit. 3 runs to Bowling Green 6, and they've put 4 hits across in this inning as well.
So the new pitcher here for Bowling Green is going to be Cody Brown, the senior lefty. Brown making his 5th appearance of the season. Normally a starter. He's started in 3 of his 4 appearances so far. Comes in without a record in the win-loss column, but a .289 ERA in 18 innings and 2/3 worth of action. He's struck out 11, only walked 6. Opposing batters hitting just .294 against the lefty.
Gotta love that small sample size as well. We'll see what Cody Brown's got when he comes out here. Brown, of course, wears the jersey number 23, the left-handed pitcher. Senior stands at 6 foot 1 inch, weighs 188 pounds, out of Perrysburg, Ohio.
He's got himself a tough task here, coming in with the bases loaded.
Also spells Cody with a K, in case you were wondering.
The first batter he'll face is Jordan Wogu, who takes the first pitch. Breaking ball misses just low, I think, for a ball, 1-0.
Looked like that had some serious break to it on that one, as it ducked right in under Wogu, the freshman, with a great eye there to take that one.
Perhaps fooled a bit there, and Ditch didn't even bother pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's seen much of Cody Brown on this Michigan Wolverines roster.
Yeah, especially not the freshman. He takes a couple warm-up hacks here as he calls time at the plate. He'll step back in. Big moment for Wogu in his first start with the Wolverines. He reached base on a hit by pitch just last inning. This time he fouls it over the grandstand on the right side and into the parking lot. Out of play. The count's going to even up at 1-1
Fans lean over to check if their cars are still intact. Appear to be turned back towards the stadium. Bases loaded here for Wogu, who got hit by pitch in his first at-bat. Looking to maybe do the same here, driving a run.
Wogu very comfortable in that right-handed batter's box. Leans down, and now the 1-1 pitch misses low again here, so the count's going to go to 2-1.
And that one was just barely low. Not quite sure that Cody Brown agreed with the call there from Michael Duffy. Not getting any help here, trying to work out of a jam. And it's always tough for pitchers when they come in to a new game early in the season in the middle of a jam. We'll see how Cody Brown fares here.
He fires this one as line back at the middle. Base hit here into center field. Run's going to score. Being sent is Engelman. The throw home is cut off at the mound. 2-run single there by Jordan Wogu has the Wolverines back within 1. The score is 6-5 now.
And this is the first game on the season that Jordan Wogu has started. He may be starting a bunch more after his performance here today. Picks up 2 RBIs there and great base running as well, as the Wolverine runner who was on first base waited for the throw to go home before diving into third base. Wolverines now have runners at first and third. Really got a nice inning going as well.
Yeah, heads up base run by Blake Nelson, and now with runners at the corners, and Matthew Schmidt, the 9th batter of the inning here for the Wolverines, stepping up to the plate. Schmidt, the lefty, winds up, and this one's hit high in the air towards left field. Ranging back is DeHanas. He makes the grab in deep left. That's going to be deep enough to score the tying run from third base as Nelson runs across the plate, and we're all tied up here at 6.
And just like that, the Wolverines erase the 6-run deficit in 1 inning. Absolutely amazing stuff from the Wolverines. Great situational hitting there for Matthew Schmidt after some great base running by Blake Nelson.
So we're tied here at 6. Both teams putting together 6-run innings. Wolverines hoping to maybe make it even bigger here with Jack Blomgren getting his 2nd at-bat of the inning. He led things off by reaching base on an E5. Came around to score the Wolverines' first run of the game. He takes the first pitch low and away for a ball from the left-hander Brown. Wogu not very aggressive with his lead over there at first base. With a lefty on the mound, he scampers back on this pickoff throw, gets in there without having to slide.
Yeah, not just a lefty on the mound, but also a lefty that Wogu hasn't seen at all. Doesn't even know what his pickoff move looks like. Wants to see a few throws over there before he gets a little bit more adventurous on the base paths.
The 1-0 pitch to Blomgren is a changeup here that misses high and away for a ball. Just it never quite got back to that strike zone. Now the count goes to 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, that pitch flew right out of the side. Not a great release point there from Cody at all.
Brownell comes set with his glove at his waist, fires home. The 2-0 pitch misses low and in for a ball. It's 3-0 now. Blomgren, when reaching on an error, actually lowered his average back in the first part of this inning. He's down to 150 on the batting average scale. He takes the 3-0 pitch on the outside corner for a strike, 3-1.
That's a nice pitch from Cody Brown, who's walked 6 batters in 18 2/3 innings pitched this year to go with 11 strikeouts. Looking to improve that ratio right here.
He's behind in the count, 3-1 to the freshman Blomgren. Blomgren loops a soft liner towards short. Making the play there is Lambert without any difficulty to finally retire the side here for Bowling Green. But once again, the Wolverines score 6 runs in the bottom of the third to tie things up here at 6 between the Bowling Green Falcons, Michigan Wolverines on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball.
10 batters came to bat for the Michigan Wolverines in that inning. An absolutely absurd number. Of course, they were helped by 2 errors from the Bowling Green defense. So far, been a bit of a sloppy game between the two baseball teams. Might be a case of who can play some defense here down the stretch.
And not necessarily totally unexpected with the way both teams coming in. Bowling Green at just 3-13, Michigan at 4-11, and we haven't seen the Bowling Green Falcons, or at least I have not seen the Bowling Green Falcons personally, but I can tell you the MO for many of these Michigan losses have just been small fundamental mistakes, whether that's defense, whether that's chasing bad pitches at the plate, just little things that should be able to be corrected. The Wolverines, at least on offense that last inning, seem to work towards it. We'll see if they can make up progress on the defensive end as well.
Absolutely. You can see this team sort of growing before your eyes, at least offensively. Now let's see if they transfer it over to the defensive end. Tommy Henry still out there for the Michigan Wolverines. And you wouldn't think that at the start of the game that Henry would have lasted longer than Carey with the way that Bowling Green came out of the gate. But here we are in the top of the 4th inning. Tommy Henry's still out there, even with the chance to maybe pick up the win if he can keep pitching.
Yeah, Henry coming out, just 43 pitches thrown in these first 3 innings. It seems like he's been out there forever, though, as you mentioned. He's faced 16 batters, and he'll start off by facing the 8 hitter here in Dylan Dejanos, who bunts this one down the third base line, and it trickles foul. Nice play there by Blake Nelson to not touch that ball at all. Just kind of let it roll and roll and roll, and it finally rolled foul about 15 feet in front of that third base bag. So anticlimactic strike 1 there.
That's one of those cases where Nelson picks it up. He knows he won't get Dylan Dejanos at first, but if he lets it roll all the way down the line, he might be sitting with a bunt double if that one stayed fair.
As it stands, the lefty have to step in and face the lefty Tommy Henry once again here, and he swings and misses at a high fastball. Blew it by him, did Henry. The count's 0-2.
Had no chance of hitting that one. That one was up near his eyes. Not quite sure why he swung at that one.
That bat waggling above his left shoulder, open stance, and swings and fouls off the breaking ball there into the Wolverine dugout. Count's going to remain 0-2.
Dejanos moves a lot in that left-handed batter's box as he goes to make contact with the pitch. A lot of moving parts. Lean back a little there to get to that inside pitch.
Batting just .250. He's 1 for 1 on the day today. He lines this one towards the left side, and it bounces off the side wall. It'll be foul. So we'll do it again here at 0-2.
Dejanos with 15 strikeouts on the season. So definitely a strikeout candidate here for Henry.
Henry winds up another 0-2 pitch. Big breaking ball just off the inside corner. Wanted the call, did Henry, and Brock Keener behind the plate really framed that one, but couldn't buy it. So the count will go to 1-2.
Wow. And the reason that DeHanis didn't swing at that one is because he had no chance of hitting it. Got the call from Duffy.
1-2. Breaking ball again, but called strike 3. No doubt that one went right across the heart of the plate and absolutely froze DeHanis for strike 3. He goes down looking. That's Tommy Henry's second strikeout of the ball game, and with one gone here in the fourth, it'll bring up Riley Minerick.
DeHanis not quite too happy with that call as he looked back toward home plate umpire Michael Duffy as he headed to the dugout. Duffy now having some words with Danny Schmitz, who's now come to the top of the steps of the Bowling Green dugout as well.
Duffy's not making many friends today here. He's got enemies in both dugouts now as this one is lined and into left field for a base hit off the bat of Riley Minerick. First pitch swinging was the third baseman, and he'll be on first base with only one away and back to the top of the Bowling Green order, Neil Lambert.
And that ball took a bit of an odd bounce right there. Minerick hit that one hard into the ground. Charging was Blake Nelson and took a really high bounce on the second one. Just went right over Nelson's head into left field.
That was something we saw in the game against Lawrence Tech here. The Wolverines coming back home and play on this turf field, entirely turf field at Ray Fisher Stadium. They were balls that went up. They hit the ground so hard they looked like pop-ups on the infield. The first pitch here to Lambert misses inside for a ball, 1-0.
And not really anything you can do there if you're Nelson. I mean, as they play more on this turf field, they'll get used to it, but very hard to judge off the bat. That one flew way past shallow left field off the bounce.
Wolverines in double play depth with Lambert at the plate. The 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball that misses low and brings the count to 2-0. Lambert does have speed out there, the shortstop for Bowling Green. 9 of 12 for stolen bases this season. He pops this one up, though, over near Nelson on the third base side in foul territory. He makes the grab right by the coach's box for out number 2. So that will bring up Jeff Scott, the 2-hitter, right fielder for the Bowling Green. He'll be tasked with trying to keep this inning going. 2 gone, runner on.
A lot of strikeouts littered all across this Bowling Green lineup. Not exactly the most patient team as we've seen here today. So far it's paid off, but Henry could look to take advantage of that down the stretch. Maybe mix in more of his breaking ball.
Speaking of strikeouts, the team leader in strikeouts at the plate here for Bowling Green, Jeff Scott, takes the breaking ball first pitch for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah,
he's got 24 on the year.
24 strikeouts to go with 8 walks, all in 59 at-bats. Almost half of his at-bats ending in a strikeout.
The 0-1 pitch is hit high in the air near the right side. Giving chase is the right fielder Clemente near the wall, but no room once again there as it finds its way into the Bowling Green bullpen. There's been about 3 of those today where Clemente just ran out of room over on that right side. And the count's going to go to 0-2.
Maybe he might want to start on the other side of the fence, maybe work his way back into right field.
Henry with a chance here to get out of the fourth. 0-2 count here on Scott. The pitch. Grounded. Diving try by Blomgren, but it gets into left field for a base hit.
And a good 2-strike approach there from Jeff Scott, who hasn't been great with 2 strikes this season. We mentioned the 24 strikeouts. Still, stayed back on that pitch, did well to ground it with some force past the diving shortstop Jack Blomgren there into left field for a solid 2-strike hit.
So now there's runners on first and second with 2 gone in the inning. That'll bring up the 3-hitter Randy Reiter. Reiter 0 for 2 in the ballgame today. He's grounded to third. He's grounded to second. I think that means the next logical step would be ground to first. We'll see. It's going to take a conference from Brock Keener out on the mound real quick with Tommy Henry.
Of course, Reiter, not someone you want to make a mistake to. Doesn't have any home runs on the season, but definitely a big home run candidate as he stands in there. The big DH stands in at 247 pounds, so he's got some beef on him. Definitely can translate to some power.
Got himself 4 extra base hits on the year, a few doubles and a triple as the first pitch is high and away for a ball, one ball, no strikes.
Not quite sure he got that triple. Would like to see that one. But, yeah.
maybe one of those like an AT&T Park type of field where you got to hit it in that right center field corner and you can just run for days or something.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him on that ground out, on those 2 ground outs both times. He was out. He was maybe halfway down the line and throw left.
Not competitive at all on those. The 1-0 pitch to Ryder is in there on the inside corner for a strike, 1-1. Like I said, Ryder 0 for 2 on the day, looking to right the ship here.
Ooh.
Ha-ha.
Ooh. I'm pretty sure that's why his parents named him Randy. They wanted to get that alliteration going.
Exactly. Big fan of alliteration, personally. It's the 1-1 pitch. Misses well high and away as Keener pops out of his crouch to field that one, and the count goes to 2 balls, 1 strike.
Henry getting himself into trouble here with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. We mentioned that pitch count was only sitting at 43. He's made only 11 pitches this inning, partially because of the aggressiveness of the Bowling Green hitters.
Ryder has not been quite as aggressive in this at-bat, just waiting out, taking all 3 pitches he's seen so far. That has him in a favorable 2-1 count. He waggles that bat almost behind him in that batter's box, and the big breaking ball here gets him looking for strike 2.
Ryder not happy with the call from Duffy there as he looks back at the home plate umpire. That one may have started out at his head when it left Tommy Henry's hand, but might have crossed right around the belt by the time it reached home plate.
Tommy Henry's got that breaking ball. It was really good last year. He found it here as a swing and a miss on that big breaking ball, and a ball in the dirt from Ryder. He's not happy with home plate umpire Matt Duffy Michael Duffy rather, as he walks back towards the dugout, but
Schmidt's getting out of the dugout to give Duffy a few words. Duffy turns towards the Michigan dugout looking for some support. No support there from Eric Bakich as well. It's Duffy alone on an island here in between 2 hostile dugouts.
So nonetheless, Michael Duffy over there going to have to wallow away in his lonesome behind the plate for a little bit here. Regardless, we're through 3.5 innings of play at Ray Fisher Stadium at the Michael Duffy Show, apparently. That's all we're talking about from here on out. You don't even have to bother listening for the rest of the game.
Oh, no doubt.
The score, though, sits at 6-6. We're tied, Michigan and Bowling Green, on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball, and Michael Duffy umpiring.
I believe Michael Duffy will be hitting to start off this inning as well.
As we got a little trivia going here with the first big crowd of the season. Not particularly close to a full house, but the trivia question for the day they're asking right now, how many consecutive games did Akeo Thomas reach base in last season?
38.
38. Oh, you nailed it after you already saw the answer.
Oh, did the answer come up?
Yeah.
I had it before.
They also asked something we already pitched on this broadcast here. What was the 2017 Wolverine recruiting class ranked nationally?
Absolutely.
Tweet your answers if you were paying attention earlier on to WCBN Sports on Twitter. If you get the right answer, we'll give you the shout out here live on air. So Akeo Thomas steps in to begin things here in the bottom half of the 4th inning for Michigan. Takes the first pitch low for a ball and hits the second pitch just fouled on the left field line to even things up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Thomas extending his on-base streak today with a single back in last inning 6-run rally.
Just beat me to it again. Akeo Thomas, they mentioned 38 consecutive games reaching base last season. Already got his streak going this year. Wasted no time as he's reached base in the first 16 games of the season.
He takes the 1-1 pitch on the outside corner for a strike, 1-2.
Big breaking ball there from Cody Brown. Looks like he might be able to match Tommy Henry in that category.
1-2 pitch here from Brown. Misses outside for a ball, 2-2. Brown struggled with a little bit when he came in last inning, but has seemed to right the ship here. 2-2 on Akeo Thomas. Fouled back and bangs off the press box. We're going to stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's why you keep the windows closed on the press box. Unless you want to catch some souvenirs here, though.
That, and of course, it's a little chilly out there.
It is a little
As the 2-2 pitch misses low and runs the count full 3-2.
It's a little chilly sitting out here. It's 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, the sun shining down. Some fans maybe even peeling back those blankets as they stand here in the bleachers.
And this one is hit high and deep towards left field. It's going to get off the wall in that left field corner. Akeo Thomas is booking his way around towards second. There's going to be a play safe as the throw was just a little bit offline. And Akeo Thomas lead things it off here in the fourth with a leadoff double.
Akeo Thomas, once again, the spark for this Wolverines offense, getting everyone going. Hits that one on a frozen rope down the left field line. Took one bounce off the wall. Actually had to hustle into second because he hit it so hard. Head first slide, popped right up. Shouted out the Michigan dugout, gets everyone at the top step.
It was an old saying that Joe Madden used to say to Dexter Fowler when the Cubs had their little 2-year run with Fowler at center field, and that was "you go, we go." Basically telling Fowler, as long as you're out there and you're starting things off, we're going to follow you, and that seems to be the case here with the Michigan offense and Akeo Thomas. As Dominic Clemente steps in with now Thomas at second base in scoring position, he takes the first pitch in the dirt
No
for
doubt.
ball one.
Follow Fowler after Aeko, as the saying goes. Barely got it out there, but
Brown now calls time, or rather Clemente calls time at the plate. Brown taking a while there to try to get the sign from Mott, with the runner Thomas at second, trying to mix up the signs, don't want anything stolen here, and telegraphing what's coming to Dominic Clemente at the plate. As the 1-0 pitch bounces again in the dirt, brings the count to 2-0.
this may be a bit of a rough matchup for Dominic Clemente facing the left-hander Brown. Brown, of course, works from the third base side of the rubber.
Not quite as intimidating as, say, a lefty working on that first base side where the
Yeah.
ball is being released basically behind you or at your head.
Yeah, not quite sure if he's working from the first base side of the rubber, not quite sure that ball's ever crossing the plate.
Yeah.
It's sort of coming laterally in there.
See, step off there from Brown, trying to get Thomas back towards second base. As the 2-0 pitch follows that same trend that the first two did and bounces in the dirt, brings the count to 3 balls and no strikes.
Clemente will take that, no doubt. He doesn't want to see any more of Brown than he has to from that release point. He has taken 7 walks on the season, second on the team to Akeo, sorry.
Akeo is out there at second, and he watches Dominic Clemente take ball 4 outside. That was a close pitch. I don't know exactly how far that one missed outside, but according to home plate umpire Michael Duffy, it did. So now the Wolverines will have runners on first and second to lead things off here in the fourth.
Wolverines getting something cooking on the bases as well here in the bottom of the fourth inning, aided by some patient hitting there from Dominic Clemente. And now they do have some speed out there at second base in Akeo.
It'll be Brock Keener stepping up to the plate, making his first appearance on the right side of the plate. Switch hitter took both of his first 2 at-bats against the starter for Bowling Green, Zach Carey, who was a righty. Now with a lefty Brown in, they'll flip Keener around. He stands with an open stance to that right-handed batter's box and takes the first pitch he sees here from Brown for a strike, 0-1.
Good pitch to start off Keener right there with the breaking ball. Keener wasn't about to offer it that one.
Keener standing in there, the all-whites for the Wolverines today. White bottoms with the pinstripes that go, or rather the piping that goes down halfway down the leg. The white tops, blue lettering and numbers, yellow piping on those.
You mean maize?
Maize piping on those. As this pitch misses low and away for a ball, 1-1. Meanwhile, Bowling Green in the all grays, gray bottoms, gray tops, brown numbers with orange piping, and the hat brown with an orange bill. Cody Brown now comes set. The 1-1 pitch to Brock Keener on the outside corner for a strike.
Wow, that one looked like it wasn't a good 2-3 inches off the outside corner. Keener not liking the call, but as it is, evens up the count right there. Or
rather puts Keener behind now, 1-2.
Oops.
It's all good. The scoreboard's a little slower. You don't quite get that instant, immediate click that you would at, say, a Major League ballpark. This 1-2 is hit in the air towards left field, ranging a couple steps in, though, and makes the grab on a hard hit liner was DeHanis. So Keener retired for the first time in today's ball game. There'll be one out with a couple runners on for Harrison Salter.
Keener got some solid contact on that pitch from Cody Brown. Just hit it right at the left fielder, Dylan DeHannis. Or, excuse me. Yeah, Dylan DeHannis.
So now Harrison Salter trying to redeem his day a bit here. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts in this one. Both of them swinging, but both of them also against the starter, Zach Carey. He'll get a chance now against the reliever, Cody Brown. And Brown, the lefty, fires this one down near the feet of the righty, Salter, for ball 1.
Brown's already thrown 24 pitches in his 1 inning of work so far. 1 inning, of course, stretching across 2 separate innings of play.
And this game has notably come to a much slower pace with all the runners getting on the past couple innings.
You tend to see that from the Bowling Green pitchers. We saw it as well from the starter, Zach Carey. Worked really quickly, probably only about 8 to 10 seconds in between pitches. As soon as a runner got on base, he'd slow it down tremendously. Same thing here from Cody Brown as the runners get on base. He has a look at the second base runner a few times, steps off the rubber, really composes himself before coming set.
The 1-0 pitch missed outside for a ball 2-0. Now the 2-0 pitch misses in the dirt for a ball 3-0. They're not quite Pedro Baez out there who likes to take, I don't know what he's up to. They've been timing him. I think it's up to like 45 seconds between pitches.
He's got the old Rafael Betancourt thing going.
Taking forever out there.
He's got to undress and dress between pitches.
Cody Brown now fires the 3-0. It's tapped. Diving stop by the second baseman, Dravis, and throws over to first to record the out. I thought that one was going to trickle into right field, but Dravis had other ideas. He retires Salter. Now there's 2 gone in the inning.
Dravis atoning for that error perhaps earlier in the game with a fantastic diving play to his right there. Definitely prevented a run scoring, which would have been a KO who was out at second base.
As it stands, Thomas is held at third base. Clemente moves up to second on the play. So with 2 gone in the inning, there's a couple runners in scoring position for Jonathan Engelman. Engelman 1 for 2 on the ball game today. A foul pop out and a single back in that 6-run third last inning. Taking his time, stepping up to the plate is Engelman. Now he's ready in that right-handed batter's box. Getting his first look of the day at Cody Brown. Brown steps off the rubber, though, and peers around to the runners. Now steps back on to that third base side of the rubber, as Joseph mentioned, and comes set. The first pitch to Engelman. Hit high on the infield. It's going to be Lambert ranging over, calling off the third baseman, Minerick. Now drifts into the outfield a little bit and retires Engelman on the pop-out. So Wolverines able to get a couple runners into scoring position, but can't cash in here in the 4th. Through 4 innings of play, we're all tied up between Bowling Green and Michigan at 6-6. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball online at WCBNsports.org and YouTube.com/WCBN Sports, as well as on the airwaves until 7 o'clock today on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor.
Nice job there in that inning by Cody Brown to work out of some trouble. Also worked back in the count on a number of hitters.
A noticeable improvement from when he came in and gave up a couple hits back in that 6th.
Especially early in the season, a lot of these coaches, they're starting to get a feel of who their go-to pitchers are, but they still really want to feel out who they can rely on. Cody Brown showing that maybe he can work some key innings here in the middle of the ball game against Michigan today, try to connect it to the back end of the Bowling Green bullpen.
Speaking of showing you can be relied on, Tommy Henry has obviously done that early in the season for head coach Eric Bakich, because despite giving up 6 runs back in that 2nd inning, he's still out there going in here for the 5th. He's got 59 pitches through his 4 innings of work. I'd imagine the lease is pretty short here coming into this 5th inning.
Yeah, no doubt. Henry doesn't have a lot of room to work with, but he has shown since that 2nd inning, he had relatively clean 3rd and 4th innings as well. So he's rebounded nicely, which is always good to see from young players. Of course, Henry only the sophomore.
He'll face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters in this lineup for Bowling Green: Anthony Smith, Derek Dravis, and Ty Sunken to start things off here in the 5th. Smith will lead it off. He's 1 for 2 on the day, a single and a ground out to second, or rather a ground out to short. Both of them back in the 2nd inning. Takes the first pitch from Henry here for a ball, 1-0. 1-0 pitch. Hit high in the air towards left field, and it's going to get foul and out of play. Counts 1-1 now on Smith. With this 1 for 2 performance, his average up to 292 on the season. A 1-1 pitch. Fastball misses just off the plate away. Well, count's going to go to 2 balls, 1 strike.
Smith here seeing some more pitches from Tommy Henry. Game plan might have adjusted a little as these last few batters for the Falcons seeing more pitches.
This time, an off-speed pitch misses high, doesn't quite find its way back down into the zone. It brings the count to 3 balls and 1 strike.
And that might be a pretty solid game plan against Tommy Henry, of course. Henry with 7 walks to his name so far.
He comes back from this 3-1 count and fires a fastball in there for a strike to even, or rather bring the count full to 3-2.
Of course, he's also got 19 strikeouts at the same time, so Henry always a candidate to put you away.
The 3-2 pitch just off the plate away, maybe a bit high for ball 4. And Anthony Smith is on base to start things here in the 5th. Wolverines dugout not happy with that one. Michael Duffy catching the ire of everybody today, it seems like.
The rough life of a home plate umpire. Either way, you're not going to satisfy anyone. I mean, the strategy might be to appease at least one group. Maybe hedge it a little towards the home team.
This one is bunted here by Johannes. Henry fields and fires over to first. Might have had a shot there at Smith going to second base as it was hit pretty hard right back at Henry, but he takes the sure thing. So it'll go down as a 1-3 sacrifice for Derek Dravis, and with 1 gone in the inning, and there'll be a runner in scoring position for Ty Sunken.
You can't fault Henry there for just taking the out at first right there, especially with no outs in the inning. But that ball was bunted pretty much right back to him. Looked like he could have turned and fired to second pretty easily to set up that double play.
Now Sunken steps in there and takes the first pitch low and inside for a ball, 1-0. Sunken, the right-handed hitting center fielder, came into this one batting .435. He's 1 for 2 on the ball game today. Boosts his average up a little bit to .440. Again, small sample sizes here earlier in the season, but you always get some fun numbers like that. It's a big swing and a miss there at the 1-0 pitch on a ball that was a little bit low and in on Sunken. The count goes to 1-1.
Not a big lead off second base here for Anthony Smith.
Sunken, the redshirt junior out of Wauseon, Ohio. As Tommy Henry chases the runner Smith back at second. Right after you mentioned he's not taking much of a lead.
Nah, he's got maybe like a 6-foot lead there. That is not much happening for the not-so-speedy Anthony Smith.
Smith attempted 1 stolen base this season. He was caught on that attempt. Don't expect him to go anywhere here, as the 1-1 pitch misses well outside for ball 2. Sunken already seen more pitches in this at-bat than any of his 2 earlier on. He saw a combined 3 pitches on his RBI single in the 2nd and ground out in the 3rd. He's seen 3 so far today, so he's going to beat that combined total with this next pitch from Tommy Henry. Here it comes. Called, strike on the inside corner, evens things up at 2-2. Sunken now steps out, holds that bat out in front of him, gives it a little half swing with the wrist there, just trying to get things loosened up. Now stands, puts that foot all the way back near the catcher in that right-handed batter's box and fairly close to the plate, maybe 3 inches off of that white line. Not quite a chalk line here on the turf field, but a big swing and a miss on a breaking ball in the dirt. Keener fields, checks the runner at second, then fires down to first to record the out. Tommy Henry's 4th strikeout of the day. brings it things to 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
And Tommy Henry, when you get to 2 strikes, you know what his go-to pitch is going to be. It's going to be that big breaking ball, which he showed right there to Ty Sunken. Sunken couldn't do anything with it. Probably even knew it was coming. Still swung at it. Didn't get close.
If I'm not mistaken, as you mentioned, all 4 of his strikeouts today on that big breaking ball. When he's got that working, it's a beauty to watch.
Absolutely, and he showed in the past 2 2/3 innings as he works here trying to get out in the top of the 5th that he can be a very quick and efficient pitcher.
Justin Mott, the catcher, now standing in. He takes a breaking ball there that missed probably a bit high. Couldn't quite get it down into the strike zone, so it goes to 1-0, does the count on Mott. Mott's 1 for 2 on the day as well. He singled back in that 6-run second, drove in a run, and came around to score 1 himself, and also popped out and foul ground to first base the inning afterwards. This time the grounds went over towards first base. Making the play is Schmidt. He'll take it to the bag himself. 3 unassisted to end the inning here in the top of the 5th. So this time it's Bowling Green getting a runner to scoring position but unable to cash in. We're halfway home here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. The score, Bowling Green 6, Michigan 6.
Absolutely a good job by both teams up until this point to stay in what has been a tight game. Last few innings, it's shaping up like it could stay tight down the stretch, of course. Looks like Cody Brown will be back out to work in his 3rd inning. He's only pitched 1 2/3 innings so far, but this will be the 3rd inning that he's pitched in. He's pitched 28 pitches so far. Leading off for the Michigan Wolverines, it will be Blake Nelson, the 3rd baseman.
And Nelson, Wogu, and Schmidt, who were part of that rally back in the 3rd. Nelson and Wogu both singling in that one. Nelson coming around to score a run as well. Wogu had the big blow, of course, with the 2-run single, and Schmidt actually had the sacrifice fly that tied things up.
Absolutely. 3 players right there in Nelson, Wogu, and Schmidt, who haven't seen a ton of playing time this season, but who are making a case for more here today.
They've driven in 4 runs in this ball game, which has been absolutely critical when the Wolverines were down 6-0. It looked like they weren't able to get out of the hole and finally got production on the bottom half of the lineup, something they struggled with this season.
Absolutely, and that's something that Eric Bakich will definitely be looking forward to, looking to see if he can sustain it down the stretch here in this homestand. Here we are in the bottom of the 5th inning. Blake Nelson will step in, batting righty against Cody Brown. The pitch from Brown is in for a called strike. Nelson doesn't completely agree with that call, but as it is, Brown will work quickly with no runners on base. Comes to the set. The pitch. That's swung at by Nelson and goes right through the wickets of the 3rd baseman, Riley Minerick, into left field, and that should be a hit for Blake Nelson right there.
Yeah, he absolutely scalded that ball. Not much of a chance for Minerick. He went down to his knees to try to get a glove on that one, but just absolutely scalded off the bat of Nelson. And maybe finally coming around this season. He hasn't gotten much playing time, but 2 for 3 today.
And now steps to the plate Jordan Wogu, who's been a bit of a catalyst here today for the Michigan Wolverines.
It looks like I jumped the gun there. It was ruled an error.
Wogu swings and drives that pitch deep down the line to left field. That one will bounce all the way to the wall. He's heading for second. Nelson will stop at 3rd. Wolverines again getting something cooking here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Runners at 2nd and 3rd with no outs.
And speaking of coming around, Jordan Wogu on base for the 3rd time today. The hit by pitch, the walk, now a double. Really come to play, have these guys that don't get many opportunities, and rewarding Coach Bakich for this lineup mix-up that he's been put into play today.
For sure, and what we've seen so far early from these teams, from when the Bowling Green Falcons and the Wolverines have had success at the plate, it's come early in the count. Wogu both times has jumped on some early pitches. The other single he lined right up the middle. This time he pulled one down the left field line, got himself a nice double. Sets up here for Matthew Schmidt, who will step in. Schmidt, of course, 0 for 1 on the day. To go. has reached base once as well, though, with a with a sacrifice fly.
He's got a chance to add to his RBI that he tacked on today's
The set,
second of the season.
the pitch. Schmidt fouls that one back and into the parking lot.
You mentioned the Wolverines being rewarded here for an aggressive approach, as were the Falcons earlier on. It's something that kind of came back to bit the Wolverines in last series against Lipscomb.
Here comes the pitch from Brown. That ball's a breaking ball that just comes outside. Never quite broke back across the plate. Count moves to 1-1.
In that series, they were aggressive, but they weren't aggressive at the right pitches and at the right times. They were consistently chasing pitches out of the zone, which they're not doing so far. They're making authoritative contact and making sure the pitches are coming to them. They're not trying to make something happen and pressing too much up there.
Schmidt this time swings at a pitch that may have been a little bit low, as you say that, fouls that one back into the parking lot and falls behind in the count 1-2.
Again, that's just the way baseball works. The baseball gods, as soon as you say something, they're going to give you the exact opposite.
Schmidt, of course, didn't have a hit coming into today. Still doesn't have one, though he has that sacrifice fly, looking for his first hit on the season. Brown takes the long look in, gets the sign from the catcher. Now comes set, the pitch. Check swing there by Matthew Schmidt. Didn't go around. Ball was just outside. Count moves to 2-2.
Yeah, some good arm side run there on that pitch from Cody Brown. Almost got the chase out of Schmidt, but it tailed just far enough away that Schmidt thought better of it and held up.
So we'll do it at 2-2. Schmidt puts the bat out in front of him. Now comes back set. Swings at the pitch. He lofts a lazy fly into shallow left field. Could be a difficult play, but not so much there for the left fielder, Dylan DeHanis, who comes back in, firing to the plate. No chance for the Wolverines to tag up there.
Yeah, just got way too far underneath that one. Got it a fair distance in the air, but like you said, an easy play for DeHanis. He was ranging in. The shortstop, actually, it was Lambert, was almost right in front of him. That's how shallow it was. Thinking about tagging was Nelson. He did the right thing there, but Nick Schnabel, again, with the right call to hold him up at third base, there was no chance he was scoring on that play.
Absolutely not. Nelson does have some speed, but not nearly enough to score from that. So Jack Blomgren will step to the plate. Blomgren 0 for 2 himself on the day. Infield will come in here with the runner at third and one out, trying to cut off the potentially go-ahead run at the plate.
And this would be huge for Jack Blomgren to just come through here offensively.
Blomgren puts down the suicide squeeze. Wolverine runner coming home. He's going to score. Throw to first. Gets him out. Second runner's coming home. He's going to score as well. Aggressive base running by Jordan Gowu. 2 runs on a suicide squeeze. Wolverines take the lead 8-6.
That was perfectly executed all the way around. You mentioned the suicide squeeze. Both runners running with the pitch. Head coach Eric Back is really trusting Blomgren to put that ball down. He did. Just deadened it in front of the plate. I think it was the pitcher Brown made the play. Fired over to first, then not alert enough was the first baseman Reiter. So waited a half second, kind of double clutched, then fired home, and it was not in time to get the speedy Wogu. Well played.
Well played for sure. Heads up play by Wogu, the freshman, to keep going. Never stopped right there. So that'll bring up Akeo Thomas with the bases empty and 2 out.
Not every day you get the 2 RBI sacrifice bunt.
Akeo Thomas will hit that one way down the left field line, but that one's well foul.
KO showing off the top power a little bit there. He hit one to the wall earlier on in this one. Hit one to the wall also in Lipscomb that was maybe 10 feet vertically from getting out.
Hey, he's got some sneaky pop.
He's diminutive at the very least, we'll say.
5'8" Thomas takes that pitch for a ball, and the count will even up at 1-1.
Listed as 5'8". Just got to clarify. I'm not sure if he quite is up there.
With the cleats.
There you go.
He sees another pitch and takes that one high for a ball as well. Count moves to 2-1. And you can't really blame Brown for letting those runs in too much there. I mean, couldn't do much there rather than look back at Wogu as he puts the pitch here. And Akeo Thomas fouls that one back and out of play to even up the count at 2-2.
Thomas really good at working the count today. He's ran a couple of counts full. The only at bat he didn't was a 2-1, so he got himself in a favorable count earlier in that one. Just doing a really good job of making these Bowling Green pitchers work, whether it was the starter, Zach Carey, or Cody Brown.
Brown sets and pitches this one, and that's a ball way outside, so the count will move to 3-2.
And right on cue, another full count worked by Akeo Thomas.
The pitch. Akeo Thomas grounds that one hard into the turf. Jumping play by the third baseman. He throws to first, and he gets safe is the call by first baseman Michael Schultz. Akeo Thomas just beat it out by perhaps a half step. Nothing Riley Minerick could really do there as it took a semi-high bounce off the turf. He got up and threw as quick as he could, but couldn't quite beat the speedy Akeo Thomas.
It looked like he had just a little bit of trouble transferring that ball from glove to hand. Otherwise, he would have had Thomas at first base, even with all the speed that Thomas has. He had to reach up to Minerick off of this glove side, the righty, of course, playing third base. And as he brought it down, that ball just bobbled just a little bit, and that's enough when you have someone with the speed of Thomas.
Absolutely. And that'll bring Dominic Clemente to the plate, lefty-lefty matchup for Cody Brown. Throw to first to check if Akeo Thomas is moving. He's not. He's back easily. Brown now looks in to the catcher. He gets the sign from Mott. Comes set. Throws again to first. Thomas back easily. Not much of a lead for Akeo Thomas here with 2 outs.
When you got the speed of Thomas, though, you don't necessarily need a huge lead. He's taking a bigger one now.
The pitch from Brown. That one's in for a strike. Nice fastball. Moves the count to 0-1.
Thomas hasn't really had the opportunities to steal this year, just 4 for 5, but as he's shown in his time here in Ann Arbor, definitely a catalyst there. You get on base, steal second, steal third if he really wants to.
Draws another throw here as he took another step or two out there, perhaps tempting Cody Brown to make another throw over, which he happily obliged.
When the Wolverines were really rolling last season, they won 40-plus games and had offensive players just up and down the lineup that could do damage.
Third straight throw over to first. Randy Ryder says, "Hey, you're tiring my arm out." Throws it right back to Cody Brown.
As I was saying to Akeo Thomas last year, with that offense that warranted a lot of attention, would oftentimes not quite get forgotten by pitchers, but
finally Brown throws one towards the plate, and that one sails high and in.
But he'd be able to take advantage of pitchers needing to devote that attention to batters to swipe second, swipe third. He'd get on base to start the game, and as you mentioned, 38 straight times getting on base during ball games. He was absolutely fantastic at doing so. And it was almost like an automatic run. He basically scored himself.
The 1-1 pitch from Brown. Instead, he throws to first. They've got Akeo Thomas picked off, and they nab him at second base. So it ends up paying off for Cody Brown, as on perhaps the 6th throw over to first base, he caught Akeo Thomas leaning, and they got him in the rundown. So, but in the inning, the Michigan Wolverines put 2 runs across the plate on a suicide squeeze, and they take the lead 8-6 at the end of 5.
Again, going back to that squeeze play, just the execution was absolutely fantastic on that. I mentioned coming into that at bat would be huge for Jack Blomgren to make an impact. The freshman shortstop just struggling a little bit early on in this season, or rather struggling a lot at the plate. Big there that his coach not only put the trust in him to get that bunt down, but he was able to execute. And sometimes it's just something little like that, getting that bunt down and padding your stats a little bit with the RBIs that could perhaps turn this season around, do a quick little 180 for Jack Blomgren as the Wolverines dugout plays Duck, Duck, Goose down the line in left field.
Who do you think? Oh, a goose is chosen, and they get nabbed quickly. Good wingspan there from whoever that was sitting out there.
All the Wolverines wearing their blue sweatshirts with the Mays, Michigan across it. Bowling Green wearing their brown sweatshirts with the orange hoods. On this chilly day here in Ann Arbor, but as you mentioned, very nice and sunny. We didn't have this window open, and I'd look out and say, oh, it's a beautiful 60-degree day out there at least.
Oh, yeah. This is the deceptive second false spring of Ann Arbor. not to be confused with the first fall spring. Of course, right around the corner is another winter. But as it is a pretty good day for baseball here in Ann Arbor, right around 40 degrees and sunny. As we head to the top of the 6th inning, and the Bowling Green Falcons will look to hit back after the Wolverines put 2 runs up in the bottom of the 5th. Dylan DeHanis, the left fielder, will lead off for the Falcons. He takes the pitch from Henry on the outside edge for strike 1.
Henry still out there. Very impressive to see the sophomore come back and after getting up those 6 runs, just really bear down and is cruising along here so far.
Henry hits the second pitch through a breaking ball in there that DeHanis fouled down the left side toward the Michigan Wolverine bullpen.
He got DeHanis looking on a curveball, nasty curveball last at bat.
Comes set. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Gets him on a fastball that nicked the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Great pitch there from Tommy Henry.
And that one was set up from that last at bat. He got DeHanis down 0-2, threw him a curveball that just missed, and threw him another curveball that froze him back in his last at bat in the 4th. This time, perhaps expecting the curveball was DeHanis. Instead, he got that fastball that just painted the black.
So that brings up the number 9 hitter, Riley Minerick. Henry comes set for the first pitch and throws a nice breaking curveball into there for strike 1. He works quickly. Henry will come set again. And the 0-1 pitch. That one's waved at and missed by Riley Minerick, and he's quickly down 0-2 as well.
Henry's in a groove right now. You can see it, just so much more confident on the mound than he was, and he was getting beat around a bit earlier on. As soon as he gets that ball back, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He's on that mound ready to go.
And the 0-2 pitch from Henry. That ball swung on and grounded to short. Blomgren will get up. He makes the play. He throws to first, and he gets Minerick easily. So two quick outs for Tommy Henry here in the top of the 6th inning.
Just a routine play there for Blomgren, but as the Wolverines' defense has shown early in this season, never take anything for granted.
Blomgren, of course, had a bit of a rough go on a grounder earlier in the game that led to that big inning for Bowling Green. Made that one look a lot easier, as he should on that routine play. So that'll bring up the top of the order for the Falcons. Neil Lambert steps in, and he looks at a first pitch from Tommy Henry that's just outside for ball 1.
And Henry has been able to get in grooves, but this top of the lineup still doing some damage to him. Only 1 hit for Lambert today, but has scored a run and driven in one himself.
The 0-1 pitch from Henry. He takes a nice curveball down the middle from Tommy Henry, and that evens up the count at 1-1.
Absolutely buckled his knees. He was ready to just jump out of the batter's box at that one before he realized, oh, wait, that's right down the pipe.
Henry comes back with the 1-1 pitch. Throws another curveball. That one's hit out to right field by Lambert, and he will get a single as it drops in front of the right fielder, Dominic Clementi.
He gave him the exact same pitch. Look at the exact same location. This time Lambert just stood in there, didn't buckle the knees at all, kept that front shoulder squared in there and just drove it out to right.
Not quite sure. It was great to foul up with the same exact pitch as he'd done earlier, but can't question Tommy Henry right now as he's been in a groove. And that'll bring up Jeff Scott, the number 2 hitter for the Falcons, who will swing at the first pitch from Henry and hit that one deep into the right center gap. Center fielder Engelman coming over, and he makes the play just in front of the warning track deep in right center, and that'll retire this side. So Tommy Henry works a quick top of the 6th inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Wolverines still leading the Falcons 8-6.
And, of course, listening on the airwaves at 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor, or the online outlets WCBNsports.org, youtube.com/WCBN Sports. You can also find us on Twitter at WCBN Sports. We're pretty good with keeping the branding nice and uniform across all our different platforms. Make it easy for you to find us, get in touch with us, let us know what you think about the broadcast, about the games. More than happy to interact with you on our social media.
No doubt, and this should be a fun Michigan Wolverines team to track as they try to grow during the course of the season. They've had a bit of a rough start, but as they've shown here today, when they have the hitting and the pitching going together, they can be a very entertaining team.
Yeah, Eric Bakich had talked preseason and also during the season about how he was really hoping this year would be about reloading, not rebuilding. When you lose 11 players to the draft like Michigan did over the offseason, many of them starters and key contributors to your team, you're going to go through some growing pains. Head coach Eric Bakich didn't necessarily expect it to be this bad, or at least hoped it wouldn't be this bad. He knew it was a possibility at the very least. But just working with what he's got right now, and so far some of the young guys really coming through today. We mentioned all the new faces, Blake Nelson, Jordan Wogu, Matthew Schmidt, all coming through. And then Jack Blomgren with that 2 RBI squeeze bunt.
Clemente swings at the first pitch from Brown, grounds it to the second baseman, who throws him out at first base. Nice play there by Derek Dravis, who just got the speedy Clemente.
Yeah, it was a nice play by Dravis. It was one of those turf-induced high choppers. He was sprinting in at just about max speed, made the play on the run, didn't have time to set his feet and throw, made an accurate throw just in time to get the right fielder for the Wolverines.
And Cody Brown back out here for Bowling Green. He's hefted much of the load today after Zach Carey went down with that 6-run inning. Now, Brock Keener, the catcher, will step in for the Michigan Wolverines. He takes the first pitch for a strike from Cody Brown.
Keener came in red hot, just 1 for 2 on the day. He's been reached base twice, though, with the hit by pitch in the single. See if he can keep it up and keep adding to his numbers this season.
The 0-1 pitch from Brown is looked at as it bounces in the dirt. That'll even up the count at 1-1. Keener with 1 hit on the day to bring his average up to 296. Infield playing pretty deep with the second baseman Drew Dravis and the shortstop Neil Lambert both on the outfield grass. The 1-1 pitch is outside from Brown, and that'll move the count to 2-1. Brown, with no one on the bases, working quickly. Actually waiting for Keener to step back into the batter's box. Now comes set. And the 2-1 pitch. That one's high and outside as well. 3-1.
Keener doing a great job working the count here. Did so back in the first inning when he worked that hit by pitch on what would have been ball 4, unfortunately for him, but he'll take the base either way.
Comes set quickly again. 3-1 pitch. Swung at and chopped over the head of the third baseman into left field, and that one is going foul.
He really went down and gulfed that one, did Keener. Hooked that one down that left field line and out of play into the Wolverine bullpen.
So that will bring the count to a full count. Brown comes set. The payoff pitch. It's swung and hit high over the first baseman's head as he heads towards foul ground. He'll run out of room at that as that one just escapes foul territory and goes out of play.
I think it somehow avoided hitting that one of those cars that's parked right by that bullpen over there also.
Yeah, it's a big trade-off. I don't think people quite know what they're getting into when they take that nice spot. Should tell them that they're in prime foul territory ground.
I tell the story all the time, but there was a game last year Jeremy Parks and I were calling where we saw a windshield just get absolutely shattered.
Absolutely. As Keener takes strike 3 on the inside corner, he doesn't like the call. Brown loves it as he gets Keener looking. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 6th inning. But absolutely, they should. They have nets to protect the fans here as they go around down the first and third base lines, but nothing to protect the cars. Salter now steps in. He looks at a first pitch breaking ball that's down from Brown.
Like the little rhyme throwing in there. Down from Brown.
The 1-0 pitch is swung at and golfed into right field. That one's heading down the line and will go out of play, foul. Not quite enough room there for Jeff Scott, the right fielder for the Falcons, to work with.
And that bullpen area coming into play yet again on that right side. It's been a theme of the day. That's kind of the nature of playing here at Ray Fisher. The bullpens really jut out. There's not much space at all between the line and that barrier wall.
The 1-1 pitch from Brown is looked at outside for a ball. 2-1's the count.
Meanwhile, foul territory down near the dugouts is a good maybe 60 feet, a little more than that, probably between the line and the dugouts.
Brown comes set for the 2-1 pitch, and that one's tapped foul behind home plate. 2-2. So again, the Wolverines looking to work the count here, as Akeo has done a great job here today. Keener worked the count a little bit, and Harrison Salter getting deep into the count at 2-2. Brown now comes set. The pitch. Swung at and grounded down the third base line. Just foul, rules third base umpire Stephen Linton. We'll do it again at 2-2. Riley Minerick there at third, fielded it anyway. Was about to launch it at first, right before Linton called that one just foul.
Yeah, Linton on top of that call. It's that home plate umpire's call until it crosses the bag over at third, and now the defensive replacement, actually Martinez, out there in or at third base, fielded it in front of the bag.
The 2-2 pitch from Brown is swung on and fouled straight back to the net.
A defensive change. Gamma Martinez is over there at third base now. He replaced Minerick to beginning of this inning.
The 2-2 pitch again. That one's waved at and missed. He looked at the high fastball, didn't get anywhere near it, swung right through it. A nice inning by Cody Brown to keep the score at 8-6. We head to the top of the seventh. Wolverines still leading by 2.
Unfortunately for the redshirt freshman Salter, the hat trick on the day for him. 0 for 4. 3 of them are strikeouts, though.
Not a great day for Harrison Salter, but a pretty good day overall for the Michigan Wolverines offense.
Speaking of rough going, it was Blake Nelson just running out of the dugout, tripped over the front step and just laid out there on the ground for a second, hoping no one saw, I'm guessing, but really played it up. All about the theatrics, I guess.
Absolutely. It's good to see the Wolverines team having some fun as more shenanigans going on in the left field by the dugout players as they squirm on the ground. Looks like Tommy Henry will come out here to pitch in the top of the 7th inning. They just can't get him off the mound. Still a pitch count of only 81 through 6 innings for Henry.
Yeah, and it's not like Henry's been particularly bad either. He got banged around in the second, just aggressive approach by Bowling Green, hitting pitches early in the count. But once he settled down in that inning and settled in, he's been pretty much lights out since then. He hasn't allowed more than one runner in any inning, if I'm got that count right, since that second.
Yeah, given up 10 hits on the day to the Bowling Green Falcons. Henry, though, will look to come out here as he'll face Randy Reiter, the righty, who is 0 for 3 on the day.
Still a dangerous bat, though. Even with an 0 for 3 day, average still at 292 for him. And as you mentioned, doesn't have a home run in the season, but definitely has that potential in that big right-handed bat.
First pitch from Henry is a curveball, and it's in for a called strike.
Henry not afraid to attack early in the counts here, especially once he's gotten into this groove with that big breaking ball.
He'll work quickly, just like Cody Brown. Comes set again. The 0-1 pitch. That one's low and inside, 1-1. Henry, of course, works from the first base side of the dugout. He comes set again. And the 1-1 pitch to Reiter. That one's way outside, 2-1.
Henry's really got that curveball under control, but maybe losing control of the fastball a little bit here, so those last 2 pitches weren't particularly close.
He'll look to right the ship here as the 2-1 pitch comes to Reiter. That one's a curve that didn't quite nick the plate as it stayed a little bit outside. 3-1 the count now.
And trying to stay away from the big righty bat. Just couldn't get that one to hook back near that outside corner.
You really can't blame him with Reiter standing up there. Big frame, pretty intimidating, fair amount of power as he hits this 3-2 pitch way deep to deep center. Going back is Engelman. He makes the running play as he gets onto the warning track. Great play there by Engelman. Looked like he got a very good jump off the bat of Reiter, who's a little disappointed heading back to the Bowling Green dugout, and you can't really blame him. Fantastic play there by Engelman.
Yeah, Engelman, as you mentioned, great break on it. Just went and sprinted straight back towards the left center field fence, a little bit more towards center, right by the end of where it reads 7 College World Series appearances out there at Ray Fisher, and made a really nice running grab.
Henry comes right back with his first pitch to Anthony Smith is a strike.
When your defense can help you out like that, it gives you even more confidence as a pitcher. As Tommy Henry's cruising along right now.
And he lofts a strike in there that's fouled back there and over the press box by Anthony Smith.
They played the little sound effect for the broken
Couldn't
glass,
quite tell if that was a real window.
Now they use the nice heavy plexiglass here.
The 0-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Ball hit the dirt, so throw to first there by the catcher. Brock Keener will easily retire Anthony Smith. 2 down now in the inning.
And once again, just incredible movement on that curveball from Tommy Henry. That one had to start up near the belt and just absolutely fell off the table, bouncing right in front of Keener at home plate. It's absolutely beautiful to watch.
So a quick first 2 outs for Tommy Henry, who's trying to come back out for the top of the 8th maybe, as Derek Dravis, the second baseman, will step in and look at a first pitch ball from Tommy Henry.
Dravis getting his 4th look at Henry here, as are most of the batters here in this time through the lineup.
Henry, the second pitch, and that's a strike. And pardon me, the first pitch was a strike, so the count moves to 0-2 here on Derek Dravis.
Doesn't seem to matter, though, as Dravis, I'm sure, has seen that curveball several times today, but still just came up empty, swinging and missing.
And the 0-2 pitch from Henry. And that's a swing and a miss from Dravis as well. So Henry's got it cooking now as well, as he strikes out 2 in the inning to go, along with a great defensive play from Jonathan Engelman. The Wolverines sprint towards the dugout with that 8-6 lead still intact, and Tommy Henry looking increasingly unhittable.
He has been phenomenal, to say the least. Coming back from a rough start to this ball game, it looked like he was going to get pulled, not even making it through 2 innings for a second there. And he's gone through 7 now. He's in line for the win if the bullpen can hang on for the Wolverines. Just brilliantly done by the sophomore, showing why head coach Eric Bakich is making him the Friday starter for this rotation for the Wolverines.
Bullpen, he might take it the whole way himself at this rate.
At this pace, you might not be wrong.
But yeah, no doubt, Tommy Henry has shown some great resilience here today. Bouncing back from quite a rough start. Due up for the Wolverines in this inning will be Engelman, Nelson, and Wogu. Interesting how every time after you make a good defensive play, it seems that you're first up to bat. The case here with Jonathan Engelman.
Again, it's those baseball guys perhaps rewarding you. You're on that little string of feeling good about yourself, making a play. Try to help you add to it, or as what happens more often than not, maybe cut you down a bit and take you back, humble you, to say the least.
No doubt. As Jonathan Engelman strides towards the plate, the right-handed hitter will loosen up the, could call it dirt, in the right-handed batter's box.
I think it's just rubber, isn't it, for the turf field?
The way the ball's bouncing, I would say it's some hard rubber. Looks like a trampoline out there. Cody Brown again sets and comes to the plate as he throws in a ball that just misses off the inside corner, ball 1.
Engelman just 1 for 3 today and still has that average way down at 242.
The 0-1 pitch is swung at and hit foul down the third base line. Sorry, the 1-0 pitch, and the count will move to 1-1.
Very aggressive hitter is Engelman. He hasn't gone past 3 pitches in any at-bat today, but the byproduct of that is he has chased some bad pitches. He's popped out a couple times on balls out of the zone. That one looked like it may have been just a bit outside that he yanked.
And the 1-1 pitch, he takes ball down low, 2-1. And a byproduct of what you're talking about, his aggressiveness, has led to a team-high 18 strikeouts on the season. So Engelman might be looking to be a bit more patient here as he takes the 2-1, as he swings at the 2-1 pitch, grounds it foul down the third base line. Count will even up at 2-2 for Cody Brown.
See if Engelman can turn that trend around with all those strikeouts. As you mentioned, 18 strikeouts, just 3 walks on the season. Working the deepest count he's worked yet today.
The 2-2 pitch from Brown. Swung at and hit to third base and right past the lunging Gamma Martinez, the recent defensive replacement. So Jonathan Engelman will be on with a leadoff single.
A good start here again to the 7th inning for the Wolverines. So far, when they get the leadoff runner on, good things happen. They did it back in the 3rd when they scored 6. In the 4th, they couldn't quite cash in, but then once again in the 5th, they did it again, scored 2 runs. Just, it's amazing the difference of just having someone on, having that pitcher, having an extra person to think about when you're at the plate, what benefit that does for the entire offense.
Absolutely, and we could see Cody Brown slow the game down quite a bit right now with Jonathan Engelman, who is a threat to steal on base. And on cue, Brown tosses over to first base. Engelman, 3 stolen bases and 4 stolen base attempts this season.
There is action down in that Bowling Green bullpen, so I'm not sure how much longer we're going to see Cody Brown in this one. He's gone a while.
Blake Nelson swings at the first pitch, grounds it right to Gamma Martinez. He throws the second. Dravis turns it to 2. Double play right on cue. Cody Brown gets exactly what he needs. A hot shot to third. Gamma Martinez, the defensive replacement, turned that beautifully to Derek Dravis, who got it over to first just in time to beat Blake Nelson.
Yeah, great play all the way around. Martinez fielding a hot shot, making a strong throw to Dravis, who made a great turn over there. He was off near that left field side of the bag, trying to avoid the potential takeout slide. Made a strong throw to Reiter, who stretched out and was able to snag that one.
So that brings up Wogu, who still hasn't been retired here today. He looks at that first pitch inside for a ball. That one actually went all the way to the backstop. Wogu didn't move an inch, though.
He's seeing the ball well right now. He knows when he needs to move or not.
The 1-0 pitch, and he takes that curveball low right on cue. I don't know how he didn't swing at that one. Wogu 2 for 2 on the day to go along with the hit by pitch. The 2-0 pitch to Wogu. That one's in for a strike. 2-1.
Not much you can really do with that one, kind of running low and in on the right-handed hitting Wogu. And when you're up ahead 2-0 in the count, you can afford to let that one slide by.
Wogu swings at this one, fouls it right off his foot. That one looked like it hurt. He'll take a minute to try to recuperate his left leg. Takes a step behind home plate, hops around a little. Still not crawling back quite into the batter's box.
Yeah, he's feeling that one. I think might have got him on the shin also based on where he was reaching down. Just got to shake that one off. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But just got to get back in there and try to do something.
Wogu looks at the 2-2 pitch and swings at it, hits it to the shortstop, comes up with it, throws to first, just in time to get Jordan Wogu. Nice play there by Neil Lambert, who took all the time he had before firing over to first. So at the end of 7, Wolverines still lead the Bowling Green Falcons 8-6.
Yeah, you mentioned took some time there. A little surprised. Wogu has that speed. He was booking it down the line, even with just fouling one off of his foot.
Looks like he may still be feeling that one a little.
Yeah, he's jogging slowly back to grab his glove from his teammate Akeo Thomas before jogging back out to the field. But definitely a little hesitation there. I was a little surprised. We've seen at multiple times in this ballgame today, the shortstop Lambert has really had faith in his arm to make a play. That Lambert and also our starting third baseman earlier today, Minerick, was the exact same way. They would take their time fielding, make sure they had a good grip on it, and fire some over to first. It cost them once, but in general, impressive arms on the left side of the Bowling Green infield.
Absolutely. Maybe hold on to the ball a little longer, show off the throw for the scouts, whatever it takes. But absolutely. As Tommy Henry will finally exit the game. Or is he still out? No, Tommy Henry will finally exit the game.
It's going to be Jack Weisenberger coming into the ballgame, getting some action in this one.
Jack Weisenberger, just one number off, stands in there with the 48 number, the sophomore out of Rockford, Michigan.
Yeah, he's making his 5th appearance on the year. The tall righty has a 3.72 ERA and 9 2/3 innings of work. He struck out 11, but he's walked 7 to go along with it. Hitters are only hitting 176 against him, though, and he can really bring it.
Absolutely, as it looks like bench coach for the Bowling Green Falcons is out to make some substitutions, or maybe just had to have a chat with home plate umpire Michael Duffy. Can't really tell. But Weisenberger will look to lock it down here for the Michigan Wolverines, who head into the top of the 8th inning with a 2-run lead.
Yeah, it looks like Sunken, who was supposed to lead things off, is walking back into the dugout now. We're going to get a pinch hitter to start the inning, I believe.
Standing at the top step of that dugout, looks like it might be, could be Chandler Stillings, or no, it could be Jeremy Spezia, or, oh no, it looks like it'll be number 1, R.J. Williams, who will come in and pitch hit for Ty Sunken.
So it'll end the center fielder's day. Just trying to get something else going here. Once the lefty Tommy Henry's out of the game, they bring in the left-handed hitting Williams.
Williams, of course, the junior out of Pickerington, Ohio. So Bowling Green doing a lot of recruiting in-state.
Pickerington, of course, famous. Wolverine fans have heard that name over the last several years. The likes of Karis LeVert and Taco Charlton hailing from Pickerington.
So the less fun-named R.J. Williams will step in here to face Jack Weisenberger.
I mean, when you're talking about anyone named Taco, whoever comes next is going to be a less fun name.
Weisenberger comes set and delivers the first pitch for a strike on the outside corner. Weisenberger stands in there with a similarly tall frame to Henry at 6'3". Comes set, and here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's just a bit low. Count moves to 1-1 on R.J. Williams.
I think that one might have clipped the zone, but the sheer velocity and movement on that pitch took Keener's glove well out of the strike zone.
Weisenberger comes set and pitches, and Williams pops that one into foul territory, just out of play, past the reach of third baseman Blake Nelson. So the count moves to 1-2 here on R.J. Williams.
Williams coming into this one batting .324 on the season, so definitely a potential spark plug for the offense if he can get on base here and start things.
The pitch from Weisenberger is high. That moves the count to 2-2. Williams, of course, has some speed. Could be a tough out on an infield that's playing at normal depth here.
Also doesn't strike out a lot, just 5 strikeouts on the season.
The 2-2 pitch is on the outside corner. Strike 3 called right on cue. Austin called it. Strike out of Williams. Weisenberger looking like he's got his stuff early here today. 1 out in the top of the 8th inning.
Yeah, just a filthy backdoor breaking ball on that one. Williams gave up on it as it started off in that right-handed batter's box and came in, just planted itself right on the corner, and he knew it right away. Just turned around, walked back to that first base dugout.
So it'll be Justin Mott who comes in and swings at the first pitch. That one takes a high bounce off the turf. Coming in is Blomgren. He throws him out at first base. Nice play by Blomgren, who judged the bounce pretty nice off the turf. The freshman made a quick throw to first.
Yeah, it was very well done. He knew he had space, or knew he had time, rather, with the catcher Mott running, able to let that ball bounce a second time, get a more favorable hop for him. He could field easily and toss over in time.
Dylan Dohanis now comes to the plate. The set from Weisenberger, and the pitch is high for ball 1. Dohanis 1 for 3 on the day. He's pushed his average up to 237.
And you know Dohanis is happy to not see Tommy Henry anymore. Look out looking the last 2 times he was at the plate.
As the second pitch from Weisenberger catches Blake Nelson maybe a little unaware, as it was a little high and trickled all the way to the backstop. So the count moves to 2-0 on Dylan Dohanis. The pitch from Weisenberger is, I guess, low?
I'd guess low as well, but I'm not quite sure either. So
that one will move the count to 3-0. Weisenberger doesn't like that call. And the 3-0 pitch here misses high. So a 4-pitch walk issued to Dylan DeHanis. Bowling Green hoping to get something going with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning, down 8-6.
DeHanis does have some speed, a couple stolen bases on the air. Wouldn't expect to see him on the move, given the 2 outs in the inning, and also his run in terms doesn't matter. Essentially, it's not the tying run or go-ahead run. It obviously would matter if it came across the score, but...
So this will be the first at-bat for the game for Gama Martinez, who came in to replace Riley Minerick at third base. He bats left-handed, swings at that first pitch, and taps it just foul.
Thought for a second that maybe Weisenberg coming over towards the line would have a shot at making that play, but too much spin on that one.
Couldn't quite do anything there, so the count will go to 0-1 on Gama Martinez, who hasn't seen much action this season so far, but is looking to get in a tough spot for Bowling Green here. The set by Weisenberger, the pitch. That's swung on and hit into left field. Going back is Engelman. He'll drift over. He'll make the play easily, and Weisenberger retires the side. So we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Nice quick inning there from Weisenberger. Works through the 2-out walk. Michigan stays on top 8-6.
It'll be interesting to see next inning if Coach Backish decides to stick with Weisenberger to finish this one out, or whether he goes to the likes of someone like Jack Bredesen, who has been the closer essentially for the Wolverines this season. He's the one that racks up the saves when they do get the opportunities.
Eric Backish trying to maybe experimenting with a little different things here today. It's worked so far with Jordan Logu. We'll see if he does it with the back end of the Michigan bullpen as well.
And speaking of leaving pitchers in, Cody Brown still out there, coming into this inning with 67 pitches thrown. Looking like it's going to be him or bust for Bowling Green.
He's done a pretty good job overall today. Had a bit of a rough go at it when he took over for Zach Carey in the beginning, but to his credit, most of those runs were to Carey's name, not his, so his ERA stays pretty low. It's always what matters.
And if you're talking about the silly rules of baseball, especially wins and losses, the better pitcher today has been Cody Brown, and it definitely, I don't think there's any doubt there at all. He's only given up 2 runs. One of them was unearned, and he's in line for the loss despite the starter who he relieved giving up 6.
Yeah, sometimes the game is just unfair. Cody Brown will be the first to tell you, as will the 3-13 Bowling Green Falcons, who this could just be a crushing loss for them today to go up 6-0 and then 8 unanswered runs from Michigan.
Yeah, when you're a struggling team and things seem like they're finally going right, it can really be a gut check when things turn around on a dime like they did back in the 3rd inning of this one.
Brown sets and delivers his first pitch to Matthew Schmidt, who takes it just a bit outside for ball 1. Brown comes set quickly and delivers the second pitch. Schmidt lines that one back and out of play over the press box. Brown, of course, working very quickly with no one on base. Michigan Wolverines batters not complaining at all. They're eager to step back into the box. Brown comes set and delivers just inside. That will move the count to 2-1.
Schmidt still looking for his first hit as a Wolverine. 0 for 2 in this one with a sac fly and RBI, but you'd have to imagine getting that average off the 0-0-0 line would be great.
And as you say that, he hits one to third base that bounces off of the chest of Gama Martinez, who has no play at first base. Not sure how they'll score that one, but for now, Matthew Schmidt is on first base.
I think that's probably going to go down as Matthew Schmidt's first hit. I mean, if you're Martinez at third base, you had really no other option. It was hit hard. It had some funky spin on it. Did a great job just to get down and block that one, and it is indeed ruled Matthew Schmidt's first hit as a Wolverine, so congratulations to him.
Schmidt, of course, the transfer from junior college. He takes a short lead off of first base, still enough to draw a throw from Cody Brown, who's been diligent in his throws over to first base today. And so now come Jack Blomgren, the number 9 hitter, will step to the plate. Blomgren 0 for 2 on the day.
Speaking of could really use a hit.
He looks at a first pitch strike. Of course, he did have that suicide squeeze bunt. I think he's still got 2 RBIs to his name.
And he squared around on that one, too, trying to maybe recapture the magic. I don't think he's going to get an RBI on a sac bunt with someone at first base, though.
Recapture the magic, or perhaps relive some of the trauma for the Bowling Green defense. He squares around again.
It looks like this is just going to be a straight sacrifice. Head coach Eric Bakich, knowing the limitations of Jack Blomgren so far this season, just trying to get another runner in scoring position to tack on some insurance.
Gamma Martinez charging in at third. This time Blomgren pulls it back and swings at it and fouls it off to the right side out of play.
Shows you how much I know.
So the count will move to 0-2 on Blomgren. Interesting to see if Bakich keeps the bunt on here with 2 strikes.
I'm generally very anti-bunt personally, but I would have thought, again, given Jack Blomgren's struggles and how much the bullpen has at times been inconsistent with throwing strikes, if you can tack on just one more run, you'd feel good about your chances going into the 9th.
The pitch from Brown is way outside. That ball never quite broke back toward the plate. So Blomgren works the count to 1-2.
Easy take there from Blomgren.
Brown works a little more slowly with the runners on base. Takes his time looking into the sign. Now comes set. Schmidt dancing off first base. And the pitch, same as the one before, way outside. That one nowhere close as well. Count now moves to 2-2.
We're getting into major league territory here, just a bit outside.
Brown comes set again. He throws over, checks on Schmidt, who's back easily. Schmidt, not the speediest of players, the first baseman is for the Michigan Wolverines. Still dancing off first base as the pitch comes back in, and that one's lofted out to right center field. The center fielder will drift over and Ty, and the replacement for Ty Sunken will make the catch. That's R.J. Williams.
It looks like they moved DeHanis over into center field and threw Williams out to left. So DeHanis showing the versatility in this one.
Absolutely. DeHanis showing that he can play all over the field. Easy play there, though, to get the first out of the inning. Now, top of the lineup for the Michigan Wolverines, Akeo Thomas will step in. He's 3 for 4 on the day. Cody Brown throws over the first. Back easily is Schmidt.
And Akeo Thomas finally starting to show signs of life, 3 for 4 on the day, and just ripping the ball all over the field, really.
Brown comes set and throws the first pitch in, which is taken high and outside by Akeo Thomas. 1-0 is the count.
And Akeo came into this game batting .224, all the way up to .258 now. Slowly creeping back up to that magical 300 number that a lot of guys are striving for.
Akeo Thomas may be striving for more than 300 as he looks at that ball, which is outside as well.
I'm sure he won't mind if Cody Brown wants to help pad the on-base percentage stat instead of average also.
No doubt. Brown takes a long look in at the catcher. Gets the sign for Mott. Now the pitch, and that one's low and inside. 3-0.
And there has been action in that Bowling Green bullpen for the last couple of innings here. Just somewhat waiting for Cody Brown to break just a little bit. We might be seeing it here as he's falling behind hitters over and over again.
They still might keep him in for the lefty Clemente on deck, though, as he comes set and he issues and that one's outside, and he issues a 4-pitch walk to Akeo Thomas.
And we'll see how much the head coach Danny Schmitz values that lefty-lefty matchup, or if he's going to go to what looks to be a righty in the pen right now.
I would say this is probably Brown's last batter if he doesn't get Clemente. Clemente, of course, still without a hit on the day. One of only 3 Wolverines not to get a hit, along with Salter and Blomgren.
Looks
And
like Schmidt's making the slow walk to the mound.
Schmitz perhaps walks out to the mound. He may not be giving Cody Brown a chance to face Clemente, or maybe just giving him some last-minute scouting advice.
Could very much be a message that this is your last batter, so go get him. And also gives the reliever a little bit more time to get warm in that bullpen, though. He looks to be ready down there, whoever that is. Can't quite read the number all the way down that right field line.
And Schmitz will come back to the dugout without Cody Brown. So Brown will stay in to face Dominic Clemente. Schmitz putting a bit of faith here in Brown.
And Schmidt has been effective against Clemente today, as you mentioned. Doesn't have a hit yet on the ball game, but this is the 5th time Clemente will see him. And Clemente's worked a couple deep counts as well. 2-2 back in the first, a full count, fouled off some pitches back in the third. Worked a 4-pitch walk in the fourth, so he's seen Cody Brown at least the last 3 at-bats. We'll see if that has any bearing on his success in this one.
Thomas at first, Schmidt at second. Dominic Clemente at the plate for Michigan. Brown comes set. His first pitch is outside for a ball, 1-0 on Clemente.
And of course, it doesn't really matter what Clemente does if Brown can't find the strike zone.
Brown having a bit of a rough time throwing strikes as his last 5 pitches have all missed the zone. Maybe a sign of fatigue down the stretch here for Cody Brown.
And many of those 5 not even particularly close, even warranting a chase at all. So just really missing his spots at this point.
Brown looks in. Gets the sign for Mott. Now comes set. The pitch is waved at missed. Looked like a nice changeup there from Cody Brown.
Yeah, I think that was a little breaking ball. It really had some movement down and away from Clemente, showing why that lefty-lefty matchup is so impactful.
So the count moves to 1-1 on Clemente. Thomas and Schmidt take their leads off first and second base. Brown comes set. The pitch is grounded down the first base line, just a little bit foul. Ryder had to edge over just to make sure that it wasn't going to be fair. Turned out to be foul by a few feet.
Yeah, Clemente just topping off that one. Another pitch on the outside corner, just roll over it. He was well in front of it as well, so Brown doing a good job keeping Clemente off balance here in this at-bat.
And now he's got Clemente down in the hole 1-2. See what he comes back here with 2 strikes. Could be that breaking ball again. Comes set. The pitch. And that one hit Brown. Hit Clemente. Looks like he went with the breaking ball perhaps, and it just never broke. Started that out from the back hip, and that's exactly where it hit Clemente. Right on the thigh.
He started at the hip, and it never moved from the hip.
Absolutely. Clemente will take the short jog down to first, and that's one of those where you're glad it was a breaking ball, not a fastball.
I'm sure Clemente doesn't mind too much getting on base again today. Loading the bases up for Brock Keener, and I talked about getting one more run as insurance. That would be big for the Wolverines going into this 9th, but perhaps a chance to do a little bit more than that.
Absolutely. As Keener steps to the plate, he's 1 for 3 on the day. And that pitch is outside from Brown, 1-0. So the Wolverines have the bases juiced here. Schmidt, Thomas, and Clemente on third, second, and first, with Keener up to bat. Cody Brown trying to maneuver out of a little bit of trouble to keep Bowling Green in the game here, down 8-6 in the bottom of the 8th inning. He gets the sign, and the pitch is taken for a strike by Keener. That evens up the count at 1-1. Brock Keener lays that bat out in front of home plate, saying, "Put it here, Cody Brown." Brown comes set, puts the pitch, puts it right there, and Keener fouls it right straight back and over the box. Out of play.
It looked like a breaking ball that Keener just got a little underneath, actually. Perhaps anticipated just a little bit more break on it, and when he did swing in that exact spot, as you mentioned, right where he waved that bat, actually, just couldn't quite handle it.
Bases loaded here in the bottom of the 8th. The count is 1-2 on Brock Keener. The 1-2 pitch is way outside, 2-2.
And Cody Brown very much going between making some great pitches and then making pitches that aren't even particularly close, like that one, not even worth thinking about chasing. At least if he's going to miss, he'd obviously prefer to miss somewhere near the strike zone, get a swing and miss.
As it is, the count moves to 2-2. Brown comes set. The pitch. That one's waved at and missed by Brock Keener. Looks like Brown went with the off speed there. Got Keener to swing and miss right over the top of it. 2 outs now in the 8th inning.
It's just as I was saying, mixing those really wild pitches with great ones, that was certainly in the latter category. Just absolutely filthy with that off speed dropping right off the table for Keener.
Absolutely. So up that brings Harrison Salter, who's 0 for 4 on the day. Bunch of strikeouts to his name. Looking to avoid it again here against Cody Brown. Bases still juiced with Wolverines.
The bright side for Salter, I guess, is he can't hit a double play right here, so they can't get much worse at this point.
Could change that all with one swing, though. Brown comes set and delivers to the plate, and Salter taps that one foul into the Wolverines' dugout.
Salter, I've noticed it several times in at-bats today, loves to chase that pitch that's bearing low and in on him. Opens those hips, flies out, and gets a piece of him, and so far hasn't really paid dividends at all. Just keeps fouling him softly into the Wolverine dugout.
Brown comes set. The 0-1 pitch. That one's outside. 1-1 on Salter. Good eye there to let that one fly outside. That one a little bit closer to the strike zone, though still not really challenging Salter too much. Due up for Bowling Green in the top of the 9th will be Lambert, Scott, and Ryder. The key right now, though, is getting the Wolverines out for Bowling Green as Brown delivers a ball in the dirt that Salter swings at and misses. 1-2.
I mentioned trying to miss close to try to get swings and misses. He didn't miss close on that one, but still got a swing and miss anyway out of Harrison Salter, who at this point has got to be pressing up there. The 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts on the day. His other one was a ground out, a diving ground out to shortstop on a soft tapper, just not seeing the ball well at all.
The bases loaded pitch. Salter taps that one just foul down the third base line. So the count will stay at 1-2. Big situation here for Cody Brown to keep Bowling Green in the game. He'll take the ball back from home plate umpire Michael Duffy. Circle around the mound. Now he steps back onto it. Steps on the third base side of the rubber. Looks in to get the sign from Mott. Bases loaded for the Wolverines with the 1-2 count on Salter. Brown comes set. The pitch is outside for ball 2. 2-2 on Salter now. Salter steps back in quickly, eager to get back into this at-bat. Brown's taking a long look in, doesn't want to rush at this point. Now comes set, and now the pitch. Swung out and grounded to Gamma Martinez at third, who takes it himself to the bag, steps on it, and that gets Bowling Green out of the inning. So a good job by Cody Brown to work out of some trouble. But the Wolverines aren't unable to add any more runs to their total. They'll take a 2-run lead into the top of the 9th inning, looking to close out the Bowling Green Falcons and start this weekend off on the right note.
Yeah, it'd be big for the Wolverines. Obviously struggling so far this season, 4-11, coming off a road trip in which you went to Nashville, lost 2 out of 3 to Lipscomb, came back here and lost to Lawrence Tech and NAIA school. This would be a big first step in turning things around against the Bowling Green team that's similarly struggling.
Either way, whichever team loses, it would be a tough one here today, as it looks like the pitcher for the Michigan Wolverines will still be Jack Weisenberger to close it out here in the top of the 9th. So Bakich placing his faith here in the sophomore.
Yeah, hard to argue with that one. I mean, his stuff looked great back in that 8th inning. He was very effective aside from the 1-4 pitch walk. He was just a strike-throwing machine. Only 11 pitches thrown that last inning also, so
absolutely
plenty of life left there.
He just looked like he overpowered some of those Bowling Green hitters who'd been dealing with a lot of the different breaking stuff from Tommy Henry. In comes Jack Weisenberger. All of a sudden, they're on their heels with this great combination of fastball and breaking ball.
It will be the top of the order for Bowling Green. As you mentioned, Lambert, Scott, and Reiter to lead things off here in the ninth. So if there was a spot that they'd want to start here in the ninth, it's this, right at the top of the order.
Absolutely. A lot of power in those first 3 hitters for Bowling Green, especially with Jeff Scott, who has 2 home runs on the season so far. But in will step Neil Lambert, the shortstop, leading off for Bowling Green here in the top of the 9th inning. Michigan looking to get their 5th win here on the season. Jack Weisenberger will look to close it out for the Wolverines. He comes set, and here's the pitch. Is outside for ball 1. Lambert 2 for 4 on the day here today. Has had some very solid at-bats. He looks in at Weisenberger, who comes to the plate with the 1-0 pitch, and that one's in the same location, just a little outside again, so the count moves to 2-0.
And not the start that Weisenberger wants here. You don't want to start falling behind hitters and get yourself in a jam to start the 9th. You want to pretty much kill any hope Bowling Green has.
Weisenberger comes back to the plate, and this one misses low and inside this time. His first 3 pitches to Lambert have all been balls. Weisenberger comes set again, the 3-0 pitch. That one's way up and outside. Not even close on that, and a 4-pitch walk to Lambert to start off the top of the 9th inning.
Not what you wanted to see if you're head coach Eric Bakich, especially given the problems of the bullpen this season of just looking great to start off and falling apart and just absolutely leaving the pen in shambles, essentially.
Yeah, Weisenberger did not want to do that, especially with Jeff Scott, who has the most home runs for the season for the Bowling Green, coming to the plate now.
Got to imagine his eyes on that short porch in left field, just 312 down the line. There is that high fence, but
bit of a brick monster. Weisenberger comes set and delivers to home plate, and that's a ball. So 5 straight balls for Weisenberger as Akeo will come in to have a chat.
If you're Bowling Green, you're loving this right now. You don't have to do anything, and Weisenberger's letting you right back into this one in the 9th.
Absolutely. Sort of been the story of the Michigan Wolverines this season. I'm sure fans are on the edge of their seat. Wolverines losing because they've committed a lot of errors defensively and not really done the fundamentals right so far this year. Weisenberger looking to right the ship, though, as he delivers the 1-0 pitch. And that's a nice breaking ball in for a strike as Scott swings over the top of that one. That'll even up the count at 1-1. Scott steps out of the batter's box, takes a minute, readjusts his gloves, now steps back in. Weisenberger comes set, the 1-1 pitch. He swings and misses, 1-2.
No doubt going for the tie game on that one. A big swing and a miss there.
Weisenberger may have fooled Scott a little bit on those 2 pass pitches, using his aggressiveness against him there. Now comes set for the 1-2 pitch, and he delivers to home plate. A 3rd straight swing and a miss from Neil Scott as he misses that one as well. 1 down here in the top of the 9th inning.
And Scott there, just as soon as he swung at that first one, just could not lay off with those pitches just moving down and a bit in on him from Weisenberger. Good stuff from the sophomore, and perhaps a bit of a at-bat that Jeff Scott's definitely going to want to have back later on.
Randy Reiter now steps to the plate. Weisenberger comes to the plate. That one's low and in the dirt for ball 1. So whatever Akeo Thomas told Jack Weisenberger when he came to the mound for his visit might have paid off, as he got Scott to go down on 3 straight swinging strikes. Didn't get Reiter to swing on the first pitch there. The 1-0 pitch to Reiter now comes. And he grounds it to Thomas at second. He throws to first. Back to second. He throws to first. Double play. Ball game. Michigan beats Bowling Green 8-6. Reiter hit that one right to Thomas at second base. Flipped to Blomgren for the easy turn. And Michigan Wolverines have one of the easiest ninth innings that they've had all year as they defeat the Bowling Green Falcons 8-6 here today.
Yeah, really, as we mentioned, just a much needed win for the Wolverines today. Struggling on the season, coming in just 4-11. Getting this win and starting this first home series off right is paramount to at least trying to turn around this season if you can, if you're the Wolverines. And doing it in comeback fashion just makes it just a little bit sweeter as well.
Absolutely. Wolverines showing some grit here today. They fell behind 6-0, didn't let them get them down, didn't let that get them down. As Tommy Henry battled back, he pitches 7 innings here today. Jack Weisenberger taking the 8th and the 9th. Great job by the combination of Weisenberger and Henry to get Michigan Wolverines the victory. As Tommy Henry will get the win on the day, the loss will go to Cody Brown, and Weisenberger will get the save.
Yeah, Tommy Henry's line on the day, he went 7 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned, and all back in that second inning. Meanwhile, 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk on the day. He ended up going 92 total pitches. And turned it over to Weisenberger, who, as you mentioned, gets the save on the day. Pitched a couple innings, didn't give up a hit, did walk a couple, also struck out a couple. And on the other side, of course, the loss goes to Cody Brown, who pitched 5 2/3, only gave up 2 runs. One of them was earned, struck out 3, walked a couple, but what was noticeably better than the starter, Zach Carey, who only went 2 1/3. It gave up 6 runs, 3 of them earned. Carey gets off scot-free, while Cody Brown ends up saddled with the L.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Carey may get off without the loss here today in the scorebook, but Cody Brown definitely showed us coach Danny Schmitz that he can be relied on to carry the load. Doing a good job after those 6 runs off the combination of him and Zach Carey to not make Schmitz dip into the Bowling Green bullpen too hard. Either way, though, Wolverines with the comeback win here today. Tommy Henry moves to 2-0 here on the season as Jack Weisenberger gets his first save.
Yeah, at Tommy Henry, as you mentioned, goes to 2-0. Cody Brown saddled back to 0-1. But final line score, I guess, we'll give you also. Bowling Green 6 runs on 10 hits, 3 errors committed by the Falcons, and those really were killers, especially in that 6-run third inning. Michigan, meanwhile, 8 runs on a similar, exact same, actually, 10 hits. The difference, they did not commit any errors today, which is a welcome sight for head coach Eric Bakich after having a game just this past Wednesday where they committed 3 errors in 1 inning and led to floodgates just opening up and losing that one. Wolverines move to 5-11 on the season. Bowling Green drops to 3-14. As you mentioned, we'll have the call for you tomorrow's broadcast as well, right back here at Ray Fisher Stadium against Bowling Green at 2 p.m. first pitch. Also on Sunday, we have a 1 p.m. first pitch for you to conclude this 3-game set here in Ann Arbor. I want to thank you again for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. I'm Austin Falco for Joseph Gross here. Thank you for listening on whatever platform you did listen to today that was online at WCBNsports.org, youtube.com/WCBN Sports, and especially over the airwaves on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. We'll leave you tonight, as we always do, with a good night and a Go Blue.